forget my headphones. All right. What's up, y'all? How y'all feeling this morning?
Scheduled us an appointment? Good call.
That feeling you get when a bank simplifies home buying.
What up, Kim? What up, Nanette? What up, Kim?
Visit BMOHarris.com/.
What up, Raymond?
Special limited time offers. Certain restrictions apply.
What up? How y'all feeling this morning? What up, Representative Welch?
What do you think of when I say so?
What's up, DK? What's up, man? Shout out to them CVS boys.
Making your summer.
Hey, man. We gotta come through some games. Looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do with CVS. Beulah, see you in a few minutes. You be in the studio. What you doing? You watching? I hope you're not watching and driving. Kenneth Briscoe. What up, Reggie Ford? Shout out to Tony Adams. Lions, y'all woke? Think we got a good show for you today. Charles Thomas, you know what Charles Thomas got one of his boys coming in today. Tom Dreesen from Harvey. I didn't even know it was no white people in Harvey, man. Clifton Turner, what's up, man? How you feeling? Monica, all the way from Virginia. Hey, man, you be careful in Virginia, Monica. Them, you know, they be out there marching. Please do share the broadcast. What up, Carol Muhammad? Everett, what's up, yo? How you feeling, bro? Natasha Neptune, good morning. How are you? Who's on YouTube? Say what's up. Let me know how y'all feeling this morning. Hey, y'all, it's the weekend. We got a long weekend. I'm off on Monday. But, Charles, I think are you coming out to Wycliffe? I'm going to be, someone please dial 911.
No, man.
You not coming, man?
That's Sunday, right?
I think.
Yeah,
Theo.
Sunday, I am definitely booked.
Ship, what up? Wait, what's today? It's today. It's my anniversary, y'all. Shout out, Ship. Happy anniversary, SS Blue Apocalypse. 27 years.
You got married on the September 1st?
No, my fraternity.
Oh, your
Hey man, you can hate on yours. I represent mine.
I went to your wedding, man, and I'm trying to figure out.
Nate Williams, what's up, John Ribbert?
When the date was.
Let's wake up, y'all. What up, Daryl? Hey, y'all, it's my anniversary. In the head. What up, Nanette?
The world has changed so very much from what it used to be.
Diane Scott, what's up, sis? And poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen. What up, TT? I appreciate all your comments. I get them late. What up, Craig Nash?
And the world is in there.
Audrey!
When you teach them.
Sony, fraternity anniversary. What up? How do I say that? Oris? Thank you, Oris. Tell my ship happy anniversary, too.
Let it be.
No. The world won't get no better. We gotta change it, yeah, just you and me. Hello, Charles over there. Wake up, all the
Doctors make
the old people well. They're the ones who suffer. Thanks, Air Everett.
They don't have so
Very long before their judgment day. Won't you make them happy before they pass away? Wake up all the
builders, time
to build a new land. I know we can do it if we all lend a hand. The only thing we have to do is put it in our minds. What up, Ian? How you feeling, brother?
They do it
every time. Come on, y'all, let's do it. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. What up, Bo? The world won't get no better We gotta change it, girl.
Just you and me.
Good morning, Chicago. Good morning, world. This is your main man, Maze Jackson. You know what, Charles? Charles Thomas is in the studio. Charles, how you feeling this Friday morning?
I'm feeling woke.
You feeling woke?
But we got a lot to do today. My goodness.
You know what, Charles?
A lot to talk about.
We got a lot to talk about, man. I woke up a little depressed this morning, Charles.
Depressed?
I did, man. As depressed as I could be, man. Cause I'm trying to see the way forward, brother. You know, we're gonna talk about this a little bit more, but I just don't know how black folks gonna get free around these parts, man. Where these things be working, I ask what's in it for the black people, but I'm just praying we're gonna get free. But before we get started, we could not do this WVON Morning Show without the Morning Show team. Gotta say what's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom. Annette, how you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling fine, guys. I'm looking forward to this African Fest of the Arts weekend, Washington Park, all things Africa.
Yep, let me tell y'all. Watch me. Y'all want to see my Wyclef impression? Someone please dial 911. Watch, Wyclef is gonna be out there. I'm gonna get my Wyclef gene on. Wyclef Jean.
Gonna look like an African village.
Yes. You do not want to miss the African Festival of the Arts. I think we got a booth out there all 4 days plus. You know what I hear? Some of us are gonna be on the stage. You know what? We got to get some more details on this African Festival of the Arts. Sonia Escobar, y'all know her. She is the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. We cannot fly this thing without her. Sonia, how you feeling this morning?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
Good morning.
It's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. You know what, child?
And it's September, guys.
Ain't that something?
Isn't that
It
something?
is September 1st. September 1st. Hey, man, September 1st is September 1st. Check the month. Huh? It's the first of the month. You know what? Watch out them link lines. Hey, you know what? Just think, I bet all the link people happy they don't have to pay the pop tax.
Or the bag tax or the water tax.
They don't have to bag tax the pop, but
How we get on link, man?
hey man, you know, it's the first of the month, child. It's the first of the month. Hey, let's move right on. Let's go. We've got this one, we got a real interesting show. We've got Alden Lowry coming in today, along with Beulah McLeod. Now, Beulah McLeod is the principal over at Diet High School, and Alden Lowry wrote an article about black kids not getting into the top high schools in Chicago. Charles, I don't know. Were you surprised at that?
No. In fact, all you have to do is look at the enrollment at those high schools, and you say, why not? But that's the reality. I mean, there's a lot of competition for those schools, and you even have people like, at Walter Payton, right, the governor, even guy, he, very wealthy governor, came to Chicago, rented him, bought himself a condo, put his daughter in Walter Payton.
200 stacks he donated.
Yeah, but that shows you the competitive nature of it, and those with
I ain't got
means
250
are going to get, I believe. The pick.
I wonder is that how it's going to get that new high school. Charles, did you hear the city is trying to crack down on the cell phones? I don't know if you heard about that. They're passing an ordinance this week to crack down on the cell phones, which has become a cell phone theft, which has become a pretty big crime.
Yeah, I saw that article, but I thought there would be some technical way they were going to be able to render a stolen cell phone useless, but apparently no.
They're
going to penalize
and tax it.
And tax people, penalize them, collect some more money for those that might sell a cell phone secondhand, particularly a pawn shop or maybe even a cell phone store that might buy a stolen cell phone from the street.
Now you know who's the king of that. Go to the Arab stores, man. They back there. Man, the Arabs got every rat. They got the loose squares and they got the cell phones, bro.
Did you really?
I'm telling you. Get you some loose squares while you go get your stolen cell phone.
What'd you call them? The Arab stores?
I said the Arab. You said Arab. I said Arab stores. Look, you know what, Charles? Let me stop. I'm going to get myself in trouble this early in the morning. Charles, did you see in the news, Daniel Biss announces Carlos Rosa Ramirez as his running mate, man. He got a twofer. Bro. Latino and gay.
But I don't know where he thinks this is going to take him. I think he was the progressive Democrat to my way of thinking, running in this race.
He had people pissed off and woke.
Right. Why did he look left when he has to run in a state that includes Southern Illinois? And when I say Southern Illinois, I'm just not talking about direction. I'm talking about Southern as in good old boys.
Jefferson Beauregard.
And Confederate flags and Jefferson Beauregard sessions and all that. Man, those people down there, do you think they're going to go for a Jewish progressive running with a gay Latino? It's almost like he took himself out of the race.
That's almost like a joke, like a gay. You know what?
Yeah, it is. It's almost like
you know what, Charles? We are going to talk about that and more. I heard an interesting rumor yesterday. You know, you report the news, but I'm gonna tell you the rumor I heard. I heard a rumor about the plan for the state of Illinois. How there might be some shifting around, you know what, you want to hear that? You want to hear that? We'll talk about it when we come back. It is 6:17 on the Talk of Chicago. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Charles Thomas. We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Mace Jackson coming up.
All right, Charles, you got him. Charles, you got him.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about that. How does he ever expect to win? The person that I think might be a little bit taken by this Daniel Biss announcement has to be Congresswoman Robin Kelly. She, of course, endorsed Daniel Biss for governor last week or the week before last. And I don't think that this ticket is going to play in the southern suburbs, let alone southern Illinois. And I wonder if he really consulted her when he made this choice. Now, keep in mind, there aren't a lot of people willing to run as lieutenant governor, particularly those who already hold elective office. They don't want to give up what they have to run for lieutenant governor, a job on which you are going to do virtually nothing. So the pickings are slim for a lieutenant governor's candidate. And but I don't know why Daniel Biss didn't go downstate and get some city council person from Champaign or Springfield or some other point south, or maybe the Metro East area. I don't know. But he went and got a Chicago city councilman from the north side, who is Chicago alderman, I should say, who is an accomplished progressive. In fact, if by some strange reason Daniel Biss was elected governor and Carlos Rosa Ramirez would be his lieutenant governor, the city would be at a loss, because the guy is an outspoken advocate. He is he's a good guy. The guy believes in what he says, and he's a big friend of labor. But I just don't see what this gains Daniel Biss, who's trying to run statewide. I don't see it. Maybe he basically is throwing in the towel and says, I'm going to be one of those principal candidates that just wants to bring some conversation to the campaign. But I don't know how he would ever expect to be able to win in this environment, particularly when he's running against a guy like J.B. Pritzker, who has goo-gobs of money, and Chris Kennedy, who has lots of money. I don't know. It's an interesting choice, to say the least. And the guy who I find very interesting in this mix is Chris Kennedy, who polls very well. I don't know if he's still out in front of the polls, but he polls very well. But he's kind of laying back, watching everybody else make their choice. And the longer he's able to lay back, that means he could probably make a more effective choice than either J.B. Pritzker or Amaya Pawar, who chose the mayor of Cairo, Illinois, and Biss. So we're going to see what Kennedy is going to do when it comes to naming a running mate, if in fact he continues his run for governor, because there's a lot of talk about Chris Kennedy right now, and we're going to talk about that right after, when Mace comes back and we begin the broadcast portion of the program, because a lot of people talking about Chris Kennedy perhaps running for something other than governor, and that's what we're going to talk about when we come back. Right, Mazo?
Mazo. Charles. Hey, y'all, I'm back.
You get me in these breaks talking, man. That's how I get in trouble.
Right, man. Keep it up. That's what makes the breaks lively. Ooh, 43 before 6 o'clock. Yeah. We got him up and waking, cooking. So, Charles, you know what I'd like to do today? Because I know we can't do it on the air. Like, it's too complicated on the air. But I really would like to talk through this transition of Black Power through all of the things that I've just watched, because I did a whole bunch of notes on it, and I think it's a great off-air conversation that they would enjoy, and it can be educational. Calling. It's the first of the month. Grab your chest and get up. It's the first of the month. It's the first of the month. What up, Big Bro King? You are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, I know you are a reporter.
Right.
But you know what? I heard it through the grapevine. See, you got the report line, but I got the grapevine. And boy, I've been hearing some things in the grapevine.
But let me tell you something, man.
Go ahead.
I've been hearing things too.
Really?
I hear different scenarios than you've heard, but I've been hearing these different scenarios too.
So, you know what, Charles? I've been trying to figure this governor's race out. Now, I told you before. I said I think J.B. Pritzker is going to be the nominee because I just believe that's the way it's going to be. But you always hit me with the maze, but it's going to be tough to go downstate.
And Kennedy he's doing a rope-a-dope. I'm telling you. The man is standing in the way of J.B. And I think a lot of these rumors come straight out of the J.B. Pritzker war room.
You think so?
Yeah, because I think that J.B. Pritzker, he needs to clear the field. He needs to get these other candidates out of the way so that the state can focus on finding out who he is without any interference. I think he'd love to have a primary that really wasn't a primary. But as long as Kennedy is out there, it's going to be a primary.
As long as Kennedy is out there, Daniel Bisk is Bisk. Daniel Bisk is picking people like Carlos.
I think...
as a running mate.
I think he may have taken himself out of his serious consideration with that pick.
And I'm going to tell you, Amaya Pawar, since he won't get us Tyrone
on the phone, he can't
Tyrone, we can't get Tyrone on the phone.
We can't get Tyrone on the phone, then hey.
He out of there too.
He out of there too.
All right, so now we down to Kennedy and JB.
And Bob Dabalina, right?
Bob Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina.
Well, there's another one out there, isn't there? Some more.
Oh, T.O.
Harvey,
show respect, T.O. And Scott Drury. Okay.
Scott Drury, yeah, who's got the non-existent.
But let's just for giggles, let's say we're down to JB and Chris Kennedy. So Charles, I heard a stinking rumor yesterday, and it seemed to coincide with the Lisa Madigan, and I'm reading these stories. So Charles, what do you think about this one? J.B. Pritzker for governor. Chris Kennedy gets Dick Durbin to step down, and he goes to the U.S. Senate, and Lisa Madigan goes after the mayor.
I've even heard rumors as wild as Durbin resigning from the Senate after the fall election, which, see, a lot of this is predicated on whether or not the Democrats can retake control of the Senate. So Durbin's vote there would not be as critical in the near term. So he could come back and run for maybe even mayor.
Who? Wait. Yeah. Durbin?
Durbin just doesn't.
He don't live in Chicago.
Yes, he does. He's got a place down on the lakefront. Yeah, Durbin absolutely does. He claims Springfield, but let's face it, man.
See him in black.
Ron proved you don't have to live here in order to become the mayor. Okay, so let's leave that alone. But speaking of Ron, what's really interesting in all these scenarios that basically would get Chris Kennedy out of the governor's race, all these scenarios, none of them
include Ron.
Think about it. I mean,
no. Hey, bro, Ron's done. I
never count him out, but
I never count him out either. But I'm just telling you, I'm saying that the whole structure, because again, if that's coming out the war room, they even have considered.
But check this out, Maze. When you think about all these different scenarios of who would run for what and how, you never hear about any black folks, do you? Man, and they are the bread and butter, the soldiers, the one count on go-to vote in Illinois for Democrats, black people. And you don't hear about any black people being considered for the United States Senate or the mayor's office or any of these other offices, do you? That's just outrageous.
And Charles, got me to thinking, what do black people have to do to regain political power in Illinois? Charles,
just to be in the conversation.
You know what? And not even only to be, see, because you way up in the air. You way more cerebral than me. I'm just a regular old average guy. And it just seems to me, Charles, that we don't have like a black hammer, a black fist, a black somebody in politics that can say, hold on.
Right.
Hey, look, white guys, I understand. First of all, you gonna consider somebody black in this mix,
right?
But you're not just gonna be running amok amongst our community, doing whatever you want to do, however, to us politically.
And they give us like Jesse White. I mean, I love Jesse White. Jesse White is a soldier. He's been there. But come on, this is who they're talking about for black folks. That's no future in that. He's 83 now?
Mm-hmm.
There's no future in Secretary White. But that's their guy. That's the go-to black guy. And that, to me, is part of a plan to basically cut off our future.
It make us capons, as the old school Bill Beavers would say. Charles, you know what? I was just thinking, back in the day, I probably wasn't the most biggest John Stroger fan. I probably wasn't the biggest Emo Jones fan.
Well, I was a huge John Stroger fan.
You know what? But I am now starting to understand the role that they played in protecting the black self-interest as we knew it. Because right now, man, we got our pants down, and they just doing whatever they want to us. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we are going to answer the social media question of the day. How do black people regain their political power in Illinois? Charles, we're going to talk about this story about even the black folks don't even have to be respected by their own party. We'll talk about that and more at 6:30 on the Talk of Chicago.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's...
So, Charles, and so Facebook Live, this is going to be in a conversation that you're going to get to have that probably the listening audience will not. The background of this conversation is I was just going over the political history of how black people have completely lost our seat at the table. So Charles, to me, I'm going to say since Harold Washington, they have pitted us against black folks have been pitted against each other, but they've used I feel like they've used this progressive kind of thing as the way to dislodge us, right?
Well, they use that all over the country. It's just not here in Chicago. It's all over the country. You know, that we get mixed in with all this other progressive stuff, and our agenda is neglected while they go do the transgender agenda, the gay and lesbian agenda, the immigrant agenda, because we're all mixed in and we're supposed to be part of those agendas as well, but they totally neglect us. I have no problem advocating for immigrants or for transgenders or whomever, but what about me? It's like what the lady say in the Fences film? What about me? I mean,
So,
I've been loyal.
So Charles, let me just go back, and I'm gonna just go from when Gene Sawyer became the mayor after Harold Washington. The progressive movement and tricked us into believing that Gene Sawyer was the bah humbug Uncle Tom Negro. But Gene Sawyer knew how the machine worked, and he knew how to cut the pie, right? So more black millionaires were created in Gene Sawyer's short run because he was a machine guy, right? Now, I understand that the machine is a bad thing, but I just want to put this in perspective because that's how I came up in the game. We liked Tim Evans because he was the light-skinned Harold. Okay, we liked Harold Wash. We liked Tim Evans because he made us feel Barack Obama-esque. There we go, right? He was the progressive thought. We liked the Tim Evans. Tim Evans did not necessarily understand the machine because he came from outside fighting it. So he was a fourth ward progressive. Tim Evans, the dailies then take Tim Evans because they feel like he's their biggest threat. And they move him to the chief judge spot to keep him from ever running again for the mayor. Tony Preckwinkle then comes in after taking out Tim Evans and brings progressive stuff, but she ain't really got nothing. Then you look at when Daley steps down, then all of the bets are off and the Irish lead a coup led by Tony Preckwinkle against Tim Evans. And Tim Evans finds out that for all the years of loyalty, he ain't necessarily down anymore. John Stroger was part of the power sharing agreement between Daley had the city, Madigan had the state, and Stroger had the county. But all we ever heard about John Stroger was waste, fraud, and corruption, waste, fraud, and corruption, waste, fraud, and corruption. That he had too much patronage. But that was where all of the people from like the South Side were able to, those middle class jobs that we talk about in county government, those were those places. They used Forrest Claypool to attack John Stroger. John Stroger had a stroke, and so in a sympathy move and to honor his commitment to the black community, the Democratic committeemen slated Todd Stroger and put him in and then undercut him for 4 years with the game plan of putting Terry O'Brien in. Terry O'Brien didn't win. Tony Preckwinkle won, and so they pushed the power to Tony Preckwinkle. Last year, it was very important to the party, not to the party, but to the top guy that David Ellis be slated as an appellate court judge. But the party was not slating any black judges. So the black elected officials held out for the black judges to get slated. So all the black judges got slated and all the black judges lost. And all the white people that ran against them won. And guess what? David Ellis won. I guess my question becomes, how do we get our power if the same people that we're supposed to be working with work against us? I'll break that down. Oh, you want me to break that down? Anna, we got to break it down. It's deep. I think I need to do a podcast on this. Oh, right. David Ellis he had never tried a case, and he went from the House of Representatives as a lawyer to an appellate court judge. It's... Be your lady mama la. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, heard the rumors, man. J.B. Pritzker, governor. Lisa Madigan, mayor. Kennedy goes back to the U.S.
But the presumption would be that Dick Durbin would step down, and then Kennedy would be the consensus choice to replace him, particularly if a Democratic governor, if Pritzker is elected. I mean, again, I think all these scenarios come out of the nervous J.B. Pritzker war room, which is concerned about Kennedy sticking around and really not doing any advertising, but staying really close and really rope-a-doping right now. And I think they're worried about Kennedy, and they'd love to get him out of the way some way, and by offering him this Senate seat.
But I think the key that we were talking about was the fact that there are no black people that seem to be mentioned in the power moves.
As maybe even they talk about a black person moving up maybe to replace Lisa Madigan if she did run for mayor as Attorney General.
Oh, well, see, now I heard in my rumor mill that they would try then to promote Kim Foxx to that spot because there has no prosecutorial, but it looks really good, right? It looks really, really good.
But they would have to do something because they keep talking about black people as an afterthought in the Democratic Party when we are their political muscle. Let's face it, if black people in this state did not vote 95% Democratic, this would be a red state.
So, Charles, but then it gets me to... Remember yesterday we were talking about the launching of this new PAC, right?
Yeah, a new PAC that would be funded by the beverage industry to basically combat the pop tax, right?
Right. But loyal Democrats voted for the pop tax.
Right.
The county board president voted for the pop tax. How then is it that the lawyer for the Democratic Party would be starting a PAC against the people that he's supposed to elect?
And that is a statement when you say lawyer for the Democratic Party. We're talking about a guy named Mike Casper, who for all intents and purposes is Mike Madigan's personal political lawyer. This is the guy who represents the Democrats in all manner of cases. And this guy, when you see his name, you know,
hey man,
the speaker is in play.
Hey bro, when you see Mike Casper hit the scene, everybody's got to clear.
Everybody's got to clear.
Everybody clear, run for cover, because let me just tell you, Charles, it don't get too much realer than that guy.
And so the bottom line here is that this PAC that you have pointed out,
Citizens for a More Affordable Cook County,
which is going to get money from the beverage industry to oppose the pop tax, is headed by Mike Madigan's lawyer. Now, does this mean that the party has turned on President Preckwinkle, who supports the pop tax?
Well, we see them, but then we also see that one of the speaker's other top Latino guy, is running the campaign where you see all of these black commissioners.
You're talking about a guy named Victor Reyes, who runs what's the name of the company? Compass? What is
No,
it?
It's not Compass. It's the Roosevelt Group.
The Roosevelt. Okay, gotcha. This guy.
And I'm not sure if it's the Roosevelt Group though, because there's a lot of matches.
They always
right. It's all mixed up. But my question would be: so how, Charles, are they given the license? Because see, you know, in Illinois, you got to be commissioned. You don't get to take a shot. So they are now running a campaign against black elected officials
who voted for the pop tax,
but who are loyal to the party. How does that work? And this gets me to the point of why we miss a John Stroger or a John Stroger or an Emo Jones. Because let me just tell you, if Emo Jones was in the Senate, there's no way in the world that the lobbyists that are making money in the Senate would be able to run a campaign against a black guy. in their neighborhood.
Well, right now they're just pointing out who the commissioners are who voted for the tax, putting them on blast, so to speak. That's what they're doing at this point.
Charles, but I have it from pretty clear inside sources who've been on some of those calls that the beverage industry has indicated that they've got millions of dollars to run against these candidates against the people who voted against the pop tax.
But they've been put on notice right now. But you also notice that they're not mentioning any of the white commissioners
who voted for the tax.
They're not messing with them. They're only messing with the black ones.
Now, see,
what's up with that?
Now, check this out. And this is where I'm lost with black folks. So now, we got black folks that have called and convened and said what they gonna come do to us to take us down. But here you have people that are in your party that you will shuck and jive and smile and accept checks from, but you won't stand up for your fellow elected official. So I'm just saying, how is it that the head of the party can run candidates or run a campaign that is going to adversely affect people that they are supposed to be responsible for electing in just a few months?
Well, if those people strayed from the party line, I get it. But then again, I thought President Preckwinkle was a power that was one of the powers in the party. So here you have forces in the party opposing her and what she wants. Now, if she is a boss, then she should be respected as such by her party.
Charles,
but they don't respect her as a boss, so they are basically undercutting her by accepting money from the beverage industry to basically derail her program. I mean,
to keep her county budget stable. She's saying, let's take away the obesity. Like, Charles, could you imagine a black person? Could you imagine if the speaker wanted something to happen and Madam Preckwinkle launched and went and found people to get money to go against them? Boy, they would cut.
They would take her out of here. I mean,
but Charles, do you think it's a plan now? Do you think they sense blood in the water and they see an opportunity?
They see an opportunity to knock her off, so they're going to do it. But whether or not they can replace her with someone they want is problematic for them.
Because it happened last time.
Yeah, but what if Boykin comes up with his own support because he's not one of them, and then he becomes the county board president? But maybe they have a candidate in mind that they want to run against her.
I hear all of this.
To get in that mix, split the black vote, and then come up the middle and have a true Madigan guy.
Charles,
in
who is the black OG? Who is the black political OG?
They're all scared. They all run scared, man. They won't even come on this program to talk about anything. These are the same people who sit there and shuck and jive and cheese, and they trot them out when they want them. Like during the school funding thing, they had a couple of black people standing very prominently in the back, but they weren't involved in the negotiation on this.
Charles,
they were just there to shuck and jive and photo op.
But Charles, who is the black OG? Who? You know what? I remember when Emo Jones would talk like this. But I tell you what, he had that big what was that? What you call it? The gavel.
Yeah.
And he wielded it. And guess what? The white folks, as much as they didn't like him, they had to respect him. And you knew when you walked through those halls that you was going to give something to the black people and you wasn't going to run over them. Let me just tell you.
That's the way John Stroger used to be in the county and city government.
And you wasn't going to think about the gravity of a lobbyist who makes money from legislators passing laws having the ability to run a campaign against a legislator.
But he's got to get the green light from the boss, because that's where he's.
But Charles, I'm saying the boss is supposed to protect his members, but black elected officials seem to be expendable.
Well, they're expendable because they allow themselves to be made expendable because they don't believe they're in control of their own constituencies. They don't. They think that they think they owe everything to the bosses and nothing to the people. And that's why the people get nothing, because the bosses don't respect.
But the bosses. But Charles, then how does a black elected official get money to run for an election? It's a crazy cycle, because think about the people that they would be raising the money from are the people that are running the campaigns against them. Ladies and gentlemen, we are screwed, and I'm just trying to figure out, how do black people regain political power in Illinois? Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Post to Facebook. Y'all, we got to figure a way up out of this, because this is, they got us coming and going. I'm your man, Maze Jackson. Charles Thomas at 647. We'll be back after traffic and weather.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up.
What's up, y'all? So think about this. The black elected officials in Springfield are financing, let me back up. The black elected officials in Springfield make the lobbyists wealthy that are running the campaigns against their colleagues at the county level. So here's the deal. Those same lobbyists are going to walk into the office of another black elected official after screwing those black elected officials over and say, hey, here go $150. I'm going to contribute to your campaign so you just forget what he did to you over here. See, you got to understand that what they do to you, they will do. Dag, May. That's all I'm saying, y'all. It's this, we screwed coming and going.
Yeah, you know, the thing is, it's almost at some point we have to let them know that we're serious. I mean, it could be sitting one out. See what happens. Can it get any worse?
Oh my God!
I heard a Latino alderman come in here. I think it was Gilbert Villegas who said that they threatened that. The Latino said, "Hey, if y'all don't act right, we just sit it out. See what you think then." Well, I mean, maybe black folks need to sit one out. And I know the comeback is, oh, but then the Republicans will win everything. Then they'll have everything. Then they'll really screw us. Well, we already getting really screwed. That's the point. They don't seem to understand that we know that we're already getting really screwed. And they keeping this threat of the Republicans taking over and really screwing us is losing a lot of its impact. Because we're already the highest in the nation black unemployment rate. We already have some of the worst schools in the country. I mean, it's like Trump said, what do you have to lose?
Oh, no.
I'm serious. I mean, but they're creating a situation, and the real tragedy of it is that if they don't come around quickly, and I mean quickly, they could throw the whole thing down the drain. Then everybody will suffer. Then you'll really see, what right to work really is. You let them get a majority. You let black folks stay home, and you see what can happen with that. And a lot of people in the Democratic Party power ranks don't seem to understand that. They just don't get that. And that's a hell of a that's a hell of a proposition. To think what could happen should Illinois go completely red.
We back.
With some other girl you knew before. Between the two of us girls, I love you more. It took me by surprise, I must say. When I found out yesterday, don't you know that I heard it through the grapevine?
I heard it through the grapevine.
Much longer would you be mine?
We back, Charles.
Don't you know
No, I heard it through the grapevine. Not yet. Just go sit in the green room. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, we are talking about black folks, man, and what do we need to do to regain political power in Illinois? Charles, it just feels like we get whooped coming and get whooped going. You know, I want to whoop on the black elected officials, but I almost feel like, dang, it's like they get whooped by everybody up and down the chain, and it's like, who is the black OG? Who is the black person that says, hey, ain't gonna be...
You know what they always tell me? I always ask them that. They always say, oh, we working behind the scenes.
It's the things we stop.
Yeah, it's the things we stop. We work behind the scenes. You don't know what we doing behind the scenes. Man, in politics, you don't do behind the scenes. Politics is
public.
Optic.
Public
There's
service.
an optic component to politics that goes beyond what happens beyond the scene. You have to relate to the people. You just can't say, well, I did you a good job in there. I got you this. You didn't give me anything. I don't see it. All you got to do is, as you
point
say,
to it.
Point to it. What'd you get? They don't have that because they're not getting anything because I think they are afraid. They think that they're going to lose what they have personally if they get out there in front because they know that Marsh will cut them down.
But Charles, I feel like, I feel like they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. If they listen to us, then Marsh going to pull out a big can of $1 million whoop ass.
Man,
how do we get black elected officials to be more worried about what black people think than what white people think? But here's
I'll tell you how.
How?
Vote them out of office.
Dang,
that's
brother.
What you have to do. You have to vote them out of office.
But then what happens? See, but that's why they don't worry about us. Because let me tell you, they don't worry about black folks voting black folks out of office in the black community. Because guess what? As soon as they get you there, they're like, oh, we got us another. You're going to be a Democrat.
I'm going to have to put it in some historical perspective, too. I mean, I think in the last half of the 20th century, we were overprotective, and we have been, and we needed to be overprotective of our black elected officials, or protective of them. I think now, as we move into the 21st century, we understand that maybe we're being overprotective.
Well, you know what, Charles? Speaking of our black elected officials in perspective, we got a caller all the way from Washington, D.C., Gianno Caldwell, what's going on, my brother? Welcome to the WVON Morning Show.
Thank you, Maze, for having me and Thomas. I tell you, so I was scrolling through Facebook, because I always get an alert every morning when you're about to start your Facebook Live. And I listened in, and I'm like, wow, this is such a good conversation. So I'm so thankful to have you and Charles in this seat having unapologetically black radio. This is so much what we need. Me being a lifelong Chicago resident, now in D.C. and L.A., between D.C. and L.A., I'm so happy to hear that we got woke radio on the regular. People need to hear this kind of conversation because it's been missing for many years.
Well, you know what, Gianno,
yeah, I appreciate that.
We appreciate that, Gianno. So, Gianno, you out there in the bigger world, but what are you saying? What do you think is wrong with black politics in Chicago? Why don't we seem to have a power base here?
Well, first and foremost, obviously our community isn't a monolith. We know that. We recognize that. However, our community, both generally speaking, as one. And I got a piece that's coming out today that's speaking directly to that from a national perspective in a Washington Examiner. Our real issue is the fact that we're not willing to break the backs of the powers that be. One person who attempted to lead a revolt was Ken Duncan. And we know what happened to him. We get it. Ken, he's like, look, I'm going to vote against the speaker and try to get some independence back. You can say, well, he was a whooping boy, a pawn for Rauner, which I disagree with. You can say any of those things. But he attempted to lead a revolt, which if other legislators would have signed on to it, we would have saw a greater independence and perhaps something for the black community, which we haven't seen in a very, very long time. So that's what the black community must do. They must be willing to either sit out an election and let the chips fall where they may. And I know somebody's going to try to make a comparison to Trump. I'm sure of that. Illinois isn't that kind of environment. Either they do that or they vote against whoever that mainstream Democrat is, unless that Democrat is willing to capitulate to the demands of the black community. If that does not happen, then don't vote for him.
Yeah, I know, Gianno, that we were in between the breaks, and I was talking to the Facebook audience, and I said the same thing. It might be coming down to the point that we have to sit one out. And I don't mean don't vote, because I believe you got to vote, but just don't vote for what they got out there. Yeah, for what they got out. I mean, I'm not saying vote for the Republican either, because they got to bring it real too. Because they haven't done in this state. They have not done that.
I mean, I would say
they offered us nothing.
See, and Charles, my premise is this: I don't think that I'm not even advocating for people to be a Republican, because I don't see anything from them as well as you say. I just think that black folks, we gotta have a backbone, though. It's like it's got to be a certain point where we got to all be able to say, we ain't taking that. Homie, you ain't getting ready to play two ends to the middle. You not finna whoop us on this side for doing this, and then you over here undercutting us as well. Gianno, I appreciate you calling in. Hey, man, where can people catch you?
On Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat at Gianno Caldwell, Gianno Caldwell, Caldwell.
Hey,
Fox News Channel daily. Thank you so much, my dude.
Hey, Gianno, we appreciate you calling in. Hey,
appreciate you both.
You know what, Charles? I tell you what. Good or bad, I'm always happy to see our young people going on and succeeding. Gianno was from right here in Chicago. They tried to run him out of here, man.
Yeah, well, he is a Republican. I mean, he's down with the Republican Party, and he's trying to change things in the Republican Party. But I think as a matter of disclaimer, we need to report that and make that very clear.
Oh, yeah. He is a Republican. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 690 AM. When we come back, we are going to be talking to high school principal from Diet, Beulah McLeod, for back to school. But then we'll also be talking to Alden Laurie, who wrote an article that says it ain't the same back to school for the black kids as it is the white kids. We'll talk about all that when we come back at 6:59 on the Talk of Chicago.
The Talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation. 1690 WVON.
Dang, so explain sit it out. Explain the whole sit it out concept.
Well, I mean, if you say that, okay, if T.O. Hardin is running for governor and you got a choice between Bruce Rauner and J.B. Pritzker or Kennedy or whomever, and nobody speaks directly to the black community, hey, T.O. ain't gonna win, but I'm gonna vote for him. You know what I'm saying? I may have convinced myself numerically that T.O. can't win, but if you don't offer me anything and you don't offer me anything, I'm not voting for you. And then maybe at that point, the Democrats will lose, quite frankly, if that happened. And then the next time they'll come correct. They'll say something to you. They will speak to you. They won't have these scenarios pop up where no black people are involved in all this office holding musical chairs stuff.
Hey, Beulah.
I mean, they're public people, shouldn't even allow anything like that to happen. I mean, the party spokespeople should jump in immediately and start saying, oh, no, but we're talking about Kwame Raoul being the U.S. Senator or whatever.
No, we ain't talking about him.
But we could talk about a lot of different people in the
Champ
game.
got work to do here.
Well, whatever. But I mean, we got to talk about. We just cannot eliminate black people. Out of course, like they're gonna vote for us anyway, so we don't really care. How you doing? I'm Charles.
Hi, Mr. Thomas.
Hi,
I'm
Mr.
Beulah
Charles.
McLeod.
You call me Charles what?
Hi, Charles.
Ain't that old?
Beulah McLeod. How are you?
Beulah McLeod.
Yes,
Okay.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
Good.
I follow your work very closely on.
Well, I've been out here a minute, I guess.
Yes.
She's a viewer, daily viewer.
A daily viewer.
She's a viewer of you.
on Facebook.
Both.
Really?
Channel 7 and Facebook.
Yeah,
Amazing show. As I'm
Channel
getting
7's history now. I don't.
Literally, they are almost history.
I tell you, the thing is, I thought I would, but I'm not missing that at all.
No.
In fact, we were watching the hurricane coverage, and we were talking about how where this reporter had this confrontation with this woman.
I saw that.
And I looked at it and I said, man, I can remember when I did stuff like that. I tried to do it a little bit more sensitive than that, and I think people were more tolerant of me when I did it. But I said, man, how could you do that?
It's very difficult. I mean, you want to handle it with care, but you also want to cover the story.
But it's exploitive at some point. I mean, you're just basically doing it to try to get some good sound bites. You feed your editors, and it's good. You can't talk to any victims, that's what they want.
Yeah.
Did you get the family? Like when somebody gets shot on the street, did you get the family?
Yeah.
Like, you got to go. Sometimes they would ask me that. We'll go knock on the door of the family. I would just ride around the block with the photographer and say, man, I ain't going up there.
Right.
I ain't gonna do that.
That's hard.
They say, did you try? Yeah, but nobody answered. I lied because I'm not gonna do that.
Right.
I'm just not gonna do it. And they want you to do that constantly to the point where it's just It's hard. But it's not hard, but it's also wrong.
Yes.
It's also wrong. Try to exploit.
Oh, I like those shirts ideas, Theo.
Tragedy.
Beulah, how are you?
I'm great, Mace. How are you?
I'm great. No complaints.
Good.
No complaints. You all set? You ready?
I am. I'm ready to go.
Ready for school? So you're gonna tell us what parents need to do to get their kids ready to be prepared for back to school. You're gonna tell us about the wonderful things you got going on at Diet High School, and then we're gonna when Alden gets here, pretty much politics and planning camp. So we're gonna talk about.
You guys are in the clear now, right? You're in the clear.
In terms of
closing and all that.
Oh yeah, we're good. So last year was our first year. We had about 150 freshmen.
So wait, isn't this? Don't y'all tell me about the won't you say this for on air?
Okay.
Look, let me do you. Let me do Charles. Let me do Charles though. Watch this. Let me do this. Look. Let me do how you do me though.
Isn't that
look, it be like, really, bro, you're really distracted when you do that.
You hear from him?
Huh?
Have you heard from him at all?
No, did you talk to him?
No, you told me yesterday that he was here.
Did I talk to him? Did I? Wait, did I talk to Alden?
Yeah, you did. I tried to call him, and you reached out to him, and then he texted back and said he'll be here at 7.
You guys talk about those every morning, right?
So why y'all letting, what you think about NTA?
I think there are people.
What up, man? Where you at?
Look, I think there are people who get paid to think about what that means.
Oh, he's walking from the parking lot to the building now. Okay, so come to the side door. Yeah, he's coming. All right, bye.
Look, I refer all NTA questions to communications and Janice Jackson.
Oh, you don't want to talk about it?
That.
Y'all don't want to.
I talk about Diet High School for the arts.
Y'all want to talk about
things that are happening.
You don't want to talk about how many black kids go to your school? Is it all black?
It's 99% black. Yeah.
What's the rest?
Latino, and I have.
Where they coming from?
Actually, the area. They live in the area.
See.
Network 9 schools. All my kids come from Network 9 elementary schools, which is like the Bronzeville, Kenwood, Washington Park.
So why they don't send them kids from whatchamajigam to your school?
Why don't they what? Why
don't they take the kids to go to your school instead of chopping down? Well, you're like, you're not going to get me.
You're not getting me, man. You are not. I heard you talk to Janice the other day, so.
Janice will snap. You better tell Janice, hey, Janice, you be calling over here, man. You better put some respect on my name. I like Janice a lot. What up, Alden?
How you feeling?
Good, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. This is the man. Let me just tell y'all. This is the. Come over here. Come over here. Okay. So look, this guy, you would never know, cause I was wild and crazy, but this is the guy that made me become a Sigma on my 27-year anniversary. How ironic that this guy is here. I was a Sigma Squire back in the day. Man.
Where should I sit?
Oh, right there, next to Charles.
Hey, how you guys?
Good morning. How are you?
Charles, Alden Charles.
Hey, Alden, how you doing, my brother? Good to see you, man. That's my donut here.
And if you want some that donut, okay, I need everybody to take a half a shift this way. Okay, yeah, you're there. Hold on. Alden, I gotta move that screen. Charles, you need to move over just a little. I freaking hate this damn screen. I'm sorry. I'm not getting my...
So it's YouTube and Facebook?
YouTube and Facebook. I need everybody to do just a little bit more this way. Charles, push Charles over just a little. Move over.
Come closer to the
Okay.
Charles.
Come closer. What you been dying for? Okay. Scandalous. So, I'm going to tell you all a story, right? Back when I was in college, me and Alden actually we lived in a house together. And Alden, we used to play John Madden football. And Alden wanted to be a sportscaster, right? So part of the practice would be he would call our Madden games like he was calling a real football game. And it would be like the games would be so intense. Alden won a big screen TV in a room. Man, you know what? You don't want any of my Whopper?
Oh, the story.
I talked to Preston yesterday. Get you some headphones. You know what? They just did you wrong, Alden. Oh, you got your headphones. Okay, cool. Did you hear anything?
Yeah, I don't.
Too loud?
Cool.
Welcome to VON. See how I'm chilling circuit, baby. Reality, back to life, back to reality. However do you need me? However do you want me? You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Now, y'all know how we do. At the top of the hour, could not do the WVON Morning Show without the Morning Show team. Got to say what's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. That's right, Miss Sonia Escobar. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know, Charles, we told the story. We talked, maybe was it Wednesday, we talked about the lack of black students going to the elite colleges. Now, you chopped old boy up a little bit.
I mean, you know how
you do the Charles Thomas.
It's a very narrow look. I mean, people go to a lot more than elite college.
And we still ain't getting in those either.
We're not getting into those either. That's the point I think that I was trying to make.
So, you know what? There is a continuation of that because obviously, if they are not going to the elite colleges, then they're probably not going to the elite high schools. And so I thought that I saw this article in the Metropolitan Planning Council about, there was a story, black students declining at Chicago's top public high schools and in CPS overall. So I thought that it would be great to have a conversation with the author, Alden Laurie. But at the same time, Charles, you know, sometimes they try to say we kind of one-sided. So I also thought that it would be great to bring in a principal from CPS that is really a success story. So we got Beulah McLeod, who is the principal at Diet, who you all might remember was the place that they hunger striked for. And she has got an excellent story to tell. So I thought it'd be great to have a conversation just in time for back to school. Welcome to the show, Alden and Beulah. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank
all right.
You,
so you know what? Let's start on a positive.
Thank you.
So, so Beulah, let's start with you, and why don't you tell us the good story? And we got kids going back to school. Tell us about what our kids need to be doing and prepared to go back, and tell us about Diet.
Yeah. Good morning. morning, Maze. Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for having me on the show. I'm really excited to be able to share the great work that's happening at Dyett High School for the Arts. As you guys know, we opened last year with a group of 9th graders offering arts pathways to students. So we opened with about 150 9th graders from the Bronzeville area. About 90% of the students are neighborhood students. And this year, I'm excited to report that enrollment is actually trending upward. So we currently have 201 freshmen who are currently in the system to being projected to come to Dyett, and about 3 or 4 more we're waiting to get released from other schools. So I think Dyett is a success story. It's a testament to what happens when we provide quality programming for students and parents in the area. It's a testament that parents will send their students to Chicago Public Schools. So we're happy about that.
All right, that's awesome. But it also seems like as soon as the school get good, the white folks want to take it.
Here you go, Maze.
So, presenting a different perspective. First of all, I am extremely proud. So we want to make sure that we highlight the wonderful things, the great black principals that we have there, and the students. I've been to your school and seen what's going on, so it's awesome. But that's the story that we get when they come talk to us in the black community. But Alden, you had a kind of a different perspective. Talk to us about the article that you wrote for the Metropolitan Planning Council.
Sure, and I guess I should give a disclaimer that this is not at all meant to disparage or belittle any of the great work that's going on in all across the city in a number of our high schools. But we like to look at trends, and one of the things that we keep focus on is equity and then vitality. And so schools are a big part of what can make a region vibrant and successful. And so for that reason, we keep watch on how schools are doing, how education is doing. And one of the trends we noticed within the elite, the top 5 high schools in the city of Chicago, is that the numbers of African Americans in those schools has been declining pretty much steadily since 2000, which was the farthest back we were able to look based on data that CPS provides on its website. And when I say it's dropping roughly around 33% over that time, from just under 2,000 to about 1,300 African American students.
First, do me a favor and define the elite high schools.
And by that, we're talking about, in no particular order, we're talking about Jones, Peyton, Northside College Prep, Whitney Young, and Lane Tech. And we selected those schools because they are typically the 5 highest rated schools on a number of lists. And if you also look at the levels of African American achievement in terms of ACT scores, those are the top 5 schools in the city of Chicago. They have a nationwide profile in many cases and are regarded as not just good schools in the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, but across the country.
But doesn't that reflect demographic changes in the city?
That's a good question. And as this decline is happening, there is also a decline happening within Chicago Public Schools altogether. And there's also black population loss happening in the city of Chicago, roughly around the same amount. The overall black population loss is not quite as heavy as 33%, but the black population loss within CPS has been about that amount. The one thing, though, when you look a little closer at the numbers, what you see is that when you look at other high-quality options, so we're talking about other selective enrollment schools, and I'll name 3 in particular: Brooks, Westinghouse, and Lindblom, are all very highly rated schools as well, doing well in terms of academic performance among African American students, and the numbers of black students in those schools is actually going up. When you look at a number of other schools where black students are outperforming on the ACT, the citywide average, which was 18.4 in 2016, the numbers of African Americans in those schools, and this includes a number of charter schools, a number of Noble charters, Kenwood, and a few others, the number of African Americans collectively in those schools is going up as well. So while we are seeing this overall decline of black population within CPS, and we're seeing it within the city, we're seeing in a number of other good high schools those numbers increasing, but when we look at those elite 5, we see the numbers declining. And there could be a number of reasons. One of the things we say is it's not entirely clear to us why this trend is happening. It could be a matter of black families just saying, you know what, Northside's a great school, it's hell to get to it, so I'm going to put on my selective enrollment form for my kids to go to Brooks or to Lindblom or something like that. It could be a matter of choice, but the fact that those numbers are declining at these schools are in another category. I still think it's something that's noteworthy.
So but does that then support the CPS argument that they are that other high schools are improving? Because parents are saying, maybe I can't get into the top 5, but hey, I'm hearing that King is now a new and good viable option. I'm hearing that Brooks is a new and viable option. Is there a correlation there, do you think?
Well, like I was saying initially, this isn't the fact that the numbers are declining in the schools is in and of itself, I think, a concern. But the entire picture is much more nuanced than that.
So let's talk about that when we come back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to Alden Laurie. He's from the Metropolitan Planning Council, as well as Beulah McLeod. She is the principal at Diet School. Look, man, we got our kids going back to school, so it's time to have a little discussion. We'll be back after traffic and weather.
More of the morning show.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Black middle class is abandoning the city.
But I think what I think is happening is the portfolio of schools in CPS is improving. So you have different options. You have STEM high schools. You have schools that offer IB. Mm-hmm. So parents are not thinking in terms of.
So wait. What? So I'm gonna do again. That's a stop, and let's save that for on air.
Okay.
Right? Because I think I don't think that this has to be a screw CPS. I don't think that I took the article that way. No. I think the article that I'm seeing is, man, that there's some changes, there's demographic shifts, there's a whole bunch. But I do want to make sure that they don't run all the black kids up out with the young.
It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. The demographic is changing.
Definitely. I mean, they're leaving the city with.
I mean, people.
The last people to leave, or those least able to leave. And people are getting out of the city. But it's just not happening to black people. If you look at the southwest side, around Midway Airport, man, 10 to 15 years ago, that was an all-white working class area. Yeah. Now it's practically all Latino. And those white people left the city the same way black people are leaving the city. But the deal is, white people, the yuppies, are coming in to balance off their loss. We don't really have anybody coming in. And the Latinos are getting a lot of undocumented, and a lot of people that are coming to the sanctuary city. I'm just real. And they're coming in and replacing that number, and our number is going down, down, down.
Yeah, Latinos have this dual influx, right? There's just natural growth, and then
but the suburbs, if you go to the suburbs, you go to HF high school, and look at the enrollment of black children there. Whoa, the number is up dramatically over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, it's grown over the years.
Yeah. So you go, well, we're just living someplace else and doing different things. And it's always been it's sort of like my mission to start, when we talk about a black community, to stop thinking about our community in geographic terms and start thinking about it in terms of who we are historically and in terms of our destiny. Yeah. We're still a community, but we got to start involving people that live in Thornton, Bloom, Rich Townships, Proviso, Naperville, wherever. All these people are now part of who we are as black people. We just can't say that we're Bronzeville, we South and West Sides. We're not anymore. And we got to involve those people both philanthropically, in terms of saving our community. Their values have to be also involved in it. It ain't about Pookie and Ray Ray shooting each other. It ain't about that.
Right.
And we're not.
I mean, our social strength is our numbers, but we have to have a collective mentality in order to take advantage of that. And sadly, there are a lot of times when we don't do that.
People talk about who could be the black mayor of Chicago. Man, I'm sorry, we don't have the numbers.
Yes, we do.
Not to do it on our own.
It's going to be a coalition.
Not to do it on our own.
It's going to be a coalition
at some point.
Whoever that person is, it's going to be a coalition candidate.
You gotta have 3 candidates.
Do it on our own.
You gotta have 3. You gotta have 3, and then you get the 50 plus 1 on the first go.
We can't do 50 plus 1 on our own, though.
Can't do it. Gotta have a coalition.
Somebody else has got to be at the table. So
you gotta get another. I tell you how it could be done. You can get. I think the Irish would give us a black man. They would roll with us. If the choice was black and what we got now, they would roll with us. Cause if you were to hear them talk when they ain't when it's unfiltered, they be like,
unplugged.
Oh my God, you be like, gee, that shit you saw in Charlottesville sound just like it. Sound just like it. Oh my God, man, please. That's why I couldn't understand until I saw this last machination of the. I just couldn't understand the man. Some stuff I can't say, but I'm just here to tell you. Some of the conversations, like when you hear. You gotta understand, for a lot of these people, Kennedy would be the return to the glory days. That was when they had their little skinny ties. They was at the DNC like shoot to kill. Bro, I'm telling you, they like, that was the good old days. We made our bones in the Kennedy era. Woo! Living fool.
For what you got.
Diamond in the back, sunroof top, digging the scene with a gangster link. Ooh. Right, left, you're toothless. And then you say, God damn, they ruthless. They say, damn, them the ways fucking up the program. We don't care. We don't just say no. We too busy saying yeah about drinking straight out the 8 bottle. Do I look like a role model to a kid looking up to me? Life ain't nothing but and money.
Cause I'm the type of brother that's built to last. We had some in the present, some in the past. But I don't give a damn.
Cause I keep yelling.
Yo, tell them what they yelling.
You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the studio. And we have Alden Laurie. Alden is from the Metropolitan Planning Council, as well as Beulah McLeod. She is the principal at Diet High School. You know, that's the school where you know what, man, people got hungry to keep that school open. And we're having a great discussion here about back to school, who's getting into schools, the elite schools. And guys, we were talking off air, and the assumption is that when we see that less blacks are getting into the quote-unquote elite schools, is there a nefarious plot to keep black kids down? Is it a change in population? Or, as Beulah, you suggested, there's a change in the portfolio. Why don't you go to...
Yeah, so I see that as a good thing. I see black students going to neighborhood high schools and other options as a good thing, because what it means is they have faith in the school that's 2 or 3 miles from their home, right? So what we're doing in the district is actually expanding the portfolio of high schools so that people have different options. Diet High School for the Arts is an option. Kenwood is not too far from us. King College Prep is not too far from us. Dunbar High School has a trade program, right? It's not too far from us. So if you can create schools within the communities that are high performing, it seems like that would be a testament to the work that's happening in those communities. That's actually a good thing.
So, but that kind of, I don't want to put you in a jam, but that kind of flies in the face of the report that we saw in the Sun-Times, where they talked about 1 in 100 black kids 1 in 100 white kids go to an underperforming school, 1 in 22 Latinos, and 1 in 4 black kids go to an underperforming school.
NCPS.
Correct.
Yes.
Alden, does that match your statistics?
Yeah, I took a look at it from the opposite. I took a look at what the levels of those students in terms of how often they go to these elite schools. So essentially less than 1 in 3, essentially 2 in 5, close to 40% of all white students who are in CPS in high school are attending one of these top 5 schools. 1 out of every 33 African-American students who are in high school at CPS goes to one of these top 5 schools. That's about 3%. So it's a 13-to-1 disparity.
Dang. What about the Latinos?
Latinos, it's about 6.7% of Latino students in high school are attending one of these elite
So, they're doing better than us?
Yeah.
But Maze, can I offer a different perspective?
Yes, please.
I think we have to begin to interrogate our definitions of what we consider elite and what we consider underperforming and performing well. Because typically when I hear people talk about that, they define it solely in terms of test scores. And the district has acknowledged that there are different ways to measure effectiveness, right? So we have level 1 schools in Bronzeville. We have level 1 schools in Washington Park. We have level 1, and it's not solely based on test scores. We look at attendance. We look at growth rates, how well we move a student at Diet High School at the 9th grade level when they come to us. They may be a couple years behind in literacy or math. How well do we move them? We actually are recognized for that. We had 98.6% of our freshmen on track to graduate in 4 years at the end of the last school year, right? So that, to me, talks about what it means to go to a school that's performing well. So I think if we just say, okay, a student is only a test score, and that's how we define performance, and that's what we want to pigeonhole everybody into, then yes, you could say that. But if you look at the totality of it, and actually the district school quality rating policy, which acknowledges a variety of other factors, you begin to see a different picture.
Are those the same factors across the board, though? And I guess my question is, if a kid comes into a high school and he is not at grade level, and we get him out of the school, is he at the correct level when he leaves, or is he made it through a substandard process?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think that's something that Janice Jackson has actually been talking to principals a lot about. Yes, it's good if you make sure kids grow, but the standard is attainment. We do want students to perform at a specific level. So that is the work that we're working on now. It's not perfect. I'm not going to say there aren't, nothing is perfect, but I do know there are educators in this work fighting really, really hard to make sure we get kids to the level they need to be.
All right, well, you know what? I don't think Beulah, and I want to make sure we don't jam you because you came. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure we didn't jam you because I asked you to come as the principal of Diet High School. But I guess, guys, as I look at this, Charles, do you have a question?
I just wanted to interject this, that we're talking about the Chicago public schools and what's happening to black students there. Not all black children go to Chicago public schools. They just don't.
True.
I mean, they're going to schools in a lot of places. So I don't want anybody to get the impression that this is happening to black kids everywhere, because there are black kids in the suburbs going to school.
Right.
And they're not going to underperforming schools. So I just wanted to put that out there.
I think that's a great perspective, and I think it does align with the fact that we're moving and we're going places.
Yeah.
Alden, you look like you had something to say, and then we're going to come back. Just go ahead and get your last point out.
Sure. I don't want to challenge anything that everybody's saying.
Challenge what you feel like. You got to challenge the Lions Den, brother.
But I do think that the quality of education that African Americans have at their disposal within the public system is important to be critical of. And
so you know
too
what?
many of our black students are in schools that are not performing well, far more than we should be comfortable.
So you know what? When we come back, I want you to highlight that, and we'll talk that, and we'll take your calls because the phone lines are lit up. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. We are talking about back to school. Diet High School principal. Diet's doing great, right? They're moving forward, but apparently we're not doing as well at the elite high schools. We'll continue this conversation when we come back.
Live from the
What's the enrollment of CPS this year, you think?
It's typically close to 400,000.
Okay, but just under 400,000.
Yeah, they lost
Does
last
that include
year.
the charter schools?
Yeah.
Yes.
That includes charter schools.
Yeah, charters are public school.
Okay, so we're talking about maybe 200,000. I mean, I'm being generous now.
You mean African American?
African American student.
Like 140.
What?
140,000.
In the public school system in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't even most kids.
No.
That are black kids that within the range of this radio station who are going to public schools. They ain't even half. I ain't even. So I mean, we give the impression sometimes.
Okay, but
we talk CPS that everything that's happening to CPS is happening to black people. Like we have, we talk about education. We talk about it. Education of black children, we talk about it only in terms of CPS. Karen Lewis is our spokesperson, la-di-da. Man, it's a lot of black folks out there now who don't live in this city anymore. They left because the price is too high. It's racist. It's all kinds of stuff going on. We don't live here anymore. Yeah. But our conversation is being dominated by what's happening. The whole Pookie Shot Ray Ray narrative is one other thing. All black people are scared to walk out their front door. No. Some of them live in Homewood. Some of them live in Markham. Some of them live
up in Gresham, and they ain't afraid to walk at the.
Exactly. I mean, so we got this narrative that's going on that I think is very troubling, and we got to start taking control of our narrative, who we are, and what we do. And we got people like you know, doing wonderful things in Diet, and it's not all Black Boy Jungle.
Right.
It's like the pathology, like you say, is far too many. But I just think that narrative has got to change at some point.
I think. So I'm the principal that I am, and the principals within my area, and I'm not saying that's the end all be all, but I can talk to you about, at least in my circle, 9 or 10 principals who I know do the exact same work that I do on a daily basis. They've done.
They do it well?
Yeah, they do it well. I wanted to talk to you about a comment you made earlier that freshmen on track rate is political. Because you know I watched this. The freshman on track rate, because you know the statistics came out.
Yeah.
And you said those numbers are political.
Well, because they have.
Charles, that's not true.
No,
that's not true.
Listen,
I wanted to say
because
that.
They were. The reason I say that is because I'm jaded. Because I think I also made the point that Richard M. Daley and Arnie Duncan and Huberman and all those people told us the same thing. And the thing is, we are damaged. Right. We heard that before.
I learned that from
then Ron comes on and says they gave you the shaft.
Not doing
I'm going, well, wait a minute, Ron. Now you're saying the same thing. I get you. You have information, but as a consumer, I'm going,
every child has
parents.
We can influence every bit of policy.
Well, go for it.
And UNO didn't blow up until they started getting an education.
We've done a lot of work. High schools are doing a lot of intentional work around keeping freshmen on track to graduate in 4 years. That's huge for us.
You took me back to 1989 when NWA
one thing we
was
do
playing.
specifically is like we pull grades every 3 weeks for kids.
That's Rack's house.
And if they're not doing
that's Rack's house every morning.
Strategic intervention.
that was your pre-session session.
Online tutoring and things of that nature.
Was that every day?
So that number.
Was that every day?
Pre-session session?
I can say it's a real because I know the work we're doing at the
Well, you know, I get that. I think it's fine. But I'm just saying that I'm skeptical because I've heard it all before.
Crazy summer.
And we gotta be. It's gotta be
great.
proven to us.
I bet you did. I wish I could have been y'all in summer, boy.
About what happened at Frankfurt High School. When those kids went nuts.
When y'all used to have them parties and make Kool-Aid, and Ronaldo, we was in there the next day to clean up. And Ronaldo was like, y'all can have that Kool-Aid refrigerator, and we didn't know what. And we was smashed. All of a sudden, you know, we drinking. You know, all of a sudden, we cleaning like. So, yeah. And it was like the whole line was just like, and it was like they wanted to jump on us, they couldn't because it was like. We told them they could have the cool, you know. Oh shit, we eat, we drink.
I mean,
and it was like the Everclear punch.
As taxpayers and parents, we are jaded.
I went to take my son to Illinois basketball camp.
Results. He talks about 88%.
And so the campus has changed so much. But he was staying at
I don't believe you, but until then,
was it Bromley? He was staying at Bromley. And have you seen the new MP?
I think you need to hear it from us.
It's not empty anymore, and whatever it is, are we back?
No.
Man, so we're walking him. So like they stay at Bromley and they had to walk to the camp.
Okay.
And as we're walking, I'm like, damn, this looks familiar as hell. And it was our doghouse from when we pledged. It was like Rob Ellis's place. I'll never forget the first night we had session. We was all in there going off. Afterwards, we was cursing each other. You did it! We going off. Rack sat outside for like an hour as we was going off because he didn't have no air conditioning, so we was just screaming at each other. Man, he came upstairs and was like, "This y'all didn't learn what y'all was supposed to learn. Get your ass in the cut." Boo D or Boo Day?
Every moment.
What up, Charles Talbot? How you feeling? Say what's up to Charles Talbot, Alden.
Hey, what's up, bro? Charles? How you doing?
Say what's up to Rob Ellis.
Congrats to making the DSC.
Yes, congratulations on making the Distinguished Service Chapter, my brother. My ship is on here. Rob Ellis said, "What's up?"
Good morning, brother.
Oh, right. MP is now called ARC. You're right, Tony Rome. Sorry. You are now called Anthony Muhammad. It's so funny, right? That's funny. it's like it's crazy to see, like, listen to Alden talk. Like, we used to live in a house together, and so yes, the CPS, the official, and those kids. I'm like, dog, you used to call our Madden games, man.
Like, what happened?
We back, guys.
Not the man, cause you know, and I know that you know who I am. A special shout out, peace goes out to all my pouches.
Right. This ain't your mama's VON.
Cause I love it when you whack them, she despise me. They get vexed, I will next to not contest.
Even though I hate Tribe Called Quest. I hate Tribe Called Quest. Hate! I like Fife, but I hate Tribe. The gym must be a wreck.
You see, my aura's positive, I don't promote no junk. See, I'm far from a bully.
So what? I hate Tribe.
Yeah, that's what you heard. So just clean out your ears and just check the word. Check the time.
You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, typing away. Look, boy, he is responding to our Facebook Live audience. You know what?
That's right.
If you sit in the studio and you watch the camera, and I want to encourage you all, you can not only listen to us, but you can watch us live. That's right. We're on Facebook Live as well as YouTube. That's right. You can go to Facebook.com/MazeJack, MAZJAC. You can go to the WVON Facebook page, and you can not only listen, you can watch, because I'm telling y'all, you should really see what goes on in the breaks. And right now, you can watch Charles as he's typing intently, responding to someone on Facebook right now. You can't get your call through? Well, at least you can go to Facebook and you can comment. Also, want to remind you, September 17th, What's in it for the Black People Cookout? That's right, Charles is going to be on the grill, but you got to bring your... No, my brother, you got to bring your own. We're going to have a few tips, a few wings, but we're going to do our thing. We have been having this discussion. Alden Laurie, he is with the Metropolitan Planning Council, and Beulah McLeod, she is the principal at Diet High School. We've been talking about the stats at CPS. And Alden, before we went away, you was getting into your groove, talking about the quality public education opportunities for Black students. Go ahead.
And again, the story that we did, the analysis that we did, is not at all to dismiss the fact that there are a number of very good high schools out there where African Americans are going, they're doing well, and generally speaking, the numbers of African Americans in those schools is going up. But we close the piece with the point that literally 3/4 of African American students are in schools where they're and you know the measure that we used was the composite ACT is below the citywide average.
3/4?
3/4. 77% of African Americans are going to schools where the composite ACT score for African Americans is below the citywide average. And the citywide average is decent. I mean, it's 18.4, but it's not. I mean, that's not a remarkable score. So, the point was that if our numbers are diminishing in any of these quality schools, whether it's the Elite 5 or it's other schools that are doing well that aren't considered, the top 5, that should be something that we should take notice of and be concerned about. But broadly speaking, too many of our children are going to schools that are not performing very well. So. All right, you know what, guys? This is obviously an intriguing conversation because the phone lines are up. So I'm going to just go to the live lines and we'll take some calls and you all willing to do some responses? Renee, you're on the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. You are talking to Alden and Beulah. What you got?
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. First of all, I work at a level 1+ school. I have 3 kids. I've taught them before. They went to Northside College Prep and Winnie Young. What has happened to make the population of Blacks decline is by design. They changed the grading scale at many Black neighborhood schools, whereas if you get points to go even take the test for selective enrollment. 4 points for an A, 3 points for a B, 2 for a C, 0 for a D. So at predominantly white schools, the grading scale has a 90 as an A, 80 as a B, 70 as a C. In many of our Black neighborhood schools, they changed it where an A was 93, some it was 95. A B was 86, at some it was even an 89. A C, 76, which is a nice solid C at many of the white schools, was a D at the Black schools. So they made it where even if you're doing the same work from the same textbooks and you score the same as far as the average, your letter grade was going to be different. So that caused many black kids not to even be able to take the selective enrollment test.
Thanks, Renee. Beulah, you looking? Oh, okay. You like? No, I can't do that.
No,
I would say a 93 was always an A where I came from.
Yeah. So most schools go 90 to 100. So the grading scale is something that typically is designed at the local school. It's not. There's no district-wide mandate around. You can't go lower than a 90. I'll say that. But in terms of 93 or 90, there's no.
Really?
Yeah, no.
That
so
seems odd to me.
No, so at Diet High School for the Arts, I'll speak to our grading scale, which I think is actually a really good model. We have a standards-based grading model. And that means that 90 to 100 is an A, and it goes down 10 points after that. But we teach to mastery, so we only grade students on the skills that they master. So instead of saying this student completed assignment A, we say this student can solve a two-step equation, which is something that they cover in algebra, right? And to the extent that a student can demonstrate their mastery of their ability to solve a two-step equation, they get graded on that. So we grade solely based on the skills that students master, so that we cut out some of that subjectivity.
So how does that relate to what we heard? How does that relate to when you then go to college? Right? Are they at the same standard, or does a CPS student have to go to pre-college once they get to college to go through?
I would argue that they are able to master the skills that they need to master in college, because instead of grading on participation and behavior and attendance and things of that nature, you really are honing in on the skills that students master. So if I need to know how to cite evidence to support an argument, which is very much a collegiate level skill, that is what we're teaching kids how to do, and that is what we're grading them on.
Charles, I've been getting a bunch of texts. Obviously, you guys were having a conversation when I stepped out. That Charles and Beulah were having. What is there something that you
about freshmen on track?
Talk to me about freshmen on track. Let's talk about that.
I was upset with Charles on Facebook the other day.
Why were you upset? Talk to me about freshmen on track. Because that seems like a stat.
Yeah, no, that work is near and dear to my heart as a high school principal. So the other day, Charles said the 88% freshman on track rate for CPS was a political number, and I said no, I screamed at the screen, and I said no. No, it's not. And I'll tell you why. Chicago Public Schools has done a lot of intentional work about making sure students are on track to graduate in 4 years. You have principals like myself, and I can name about 10 or 20 of them. It's not just me. I don't want to seem like I'm an anomaly. I really am a representation of what most principals in the district are doing. I'll give you an example, Charles. Every 3 weeks, we pull students' grades.
I'm laughing at Charles rolling his eyes.
He's rolling his eyes. Every 3 weeks, we pull students' grades, and we see whether or not they're progressing in an appropriate manner. If they are not, we literally provide them intense support. We provide them one-to-one tutoring. We pull them out of classes. We make sure they're on track to graduate and they're on target. So by the time grades come out, they are passing their classes.
Now, let me say that my point to her about it being political, number one, it hasn't happened yet. It's a projection. And number two, and for the biggest reason is the CPS has no credibility, because Richard M. Daley and Arnie Duncan and whoever, Ron Huberman, they all told us the same stuff. And then when Ron is elected, the first thing he says is they gave the kids the shaft. That's what he said. So in other words, Mayor, they lied, and he wouldn't go any further, but they have no credibility at this point. And until I'm from Missouri, literally, show me.
Hold on, Beulah. Hold on, because Alden.
He said, hold on.
Alden like, my name Bennett. I ain't Bennett. Okay, go ahead, Beulah.
Okay, so in terms of credibility, I can say a few things to that. I can say that the leadership that is in place at this point, I trust 100%.
Wait, hold it.
And to CPS.
Hold on. So you trust the good Reverend Dr. Forrest, we shall overcome Claypool, even though he claims racism, and his kids go at CPS, but his kids go to private school. 100%.
I trust the CPS leadership, the educators in CPS right now. I do, and I'll tell you why. I personally worked with Dr. Janice Jackson as a principal. We were principals in the same network for several years. I know that every decision she makes as an educator, she makes with students and parents in mind. I've seen her move schools from level whatever to level whatever. She does this work, and she eats, sleeps, drinks, and breathes this work. So I do. I think she's working really hard.
But what about the Reverend Doctor?
But let me ask you about the optics, though. What about the optics of a CEO of Chicago Public Schools who doesn't even send his own kids to Chicago Public Schools? What do you think about that?
I think there are two different divisions of that. I think there's the business side of it. I think there's an educator side of it. And I'm speaking to the educator side of things. I'm not a budgetary person. I'm not a corporate person. I'm speaking as an educator.
And we're not gonna get her in trouble.
No,
she's not, man. I'm not gonna put. Let's be clear. We're not gonna put this sister in a position where she got a job.
Oh, I think the Reverend Doctor probably is.
Have the Reverend Doctor call.
Yeah, I'm not. So I'm not the politician. I'm not here speaking as that. I'm here speaking as the educator who knows the work that's happening.
But you understand what we say about credibility.
I understand.
And right now, look, so you know what? We're going to stop it right there. We got to go to traffic and weather. When we come back, woo! That's why I love the WVON Morning Show. Hey, Alden, you've been awfully quiet over there. We're going to re-engage you in this conversation. Plus, we're going to take your calls. This is the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. We'll be back at 7:48. Come on now, you can't get the... Now, you got a non-compete. You can't be... You know how that works. Don't put her in the jail.
She ain't in jail. She was gonna be there long after the Reverend Doctor.
I'm not a politician.
Right, but the Reverend Doctor like, was she on the phone? You better get your girl. They texting Janice right now like, you better get her. She better not.
No, I mean,
it's that kind of stuff that just blows you away.
Charles, Janice is doing a lot of work around. She acknowledges that there's a trust issue.
So, but then let me just say this. This is, and you know that's my girl.
That's
but when you got trust issues, when this person writes this bullshit,
is a politician,
and she says
Janice Jackson is an educator. Who do I want to educate my kids? Janice Jackson.
But the lies,
every time.
And some kind of way we try. I
want to be on TV, but you can't be just throwing like the head up on this.
It had to be somebody.
It's a politician, and that's why I say political. That's so because it all says.
I got papers.
I get you, and and now that you say it, you bringing me around. When I hear you say it, but to hear Forrest say it,
that's right.
Yeah, man.
Run, Forrest, run!
Get out of here, Forrest ain't got no credibility. If Janice says it.
And the mayor, he's picked Claypool three different times, right?
Yeah, to be his chief of staff, to be the CTA guy, and to be
first guy too.
Then whenever they need to fire some black people, call for us. You want to fire some Negroes? Call for us. I can make it look good. I can look. Let me. He sharpen his pencil up. He be like, you know what? Let me tell you. When they come and they tell you they cutting waste, fraud, and corruption. That means they firing black people. Because all his boys live out in the country. They live in the suburbs. Yeah. Got multi-million come on, man.
Claypool was a county commissioner too, right, for a while?
Right. And he's the one who got John Stroger to whatchamajigger.
No, but to your point, Charles, going back to the credibility issue, one of the things that when Janice rolled out her mission and vision for her tenure at CPS, she explicitly stated that she's on a mission to restore public trust and credibility. Like we understand there's a gap, and I'm saying we because I'm a part of CPS. I believe in the work that we do. She's very intentional about going out to the community, being accessible, because we understand that there's been a lot that has occurred in the past.
But not as CEO, not as the boss. But the boss is still the boss. I think you make your point to me. You tell me that it's real. I say, really? He says that it's real? I said, man, well, get out of here. You're a politician. Weren't you the chief? Weren't you running buses a few weeks ago? I mean, that's what I'm saying. I don't believe that when he says it. I can't because I've been conditioned not to because Arnie was saying it. And Arnie, I don't think was an educator. I don't think Arnie Duncan was an educator. No, he wasn't an educator.
He was a basketball player.
For a hot minute.
He was a hooper.
If he was, it was.
Yeah, and what's his name? Vallis is not an educator. Huberman not an educator. He was running the police.
He was educating, all right.
I mean,
he's doing some education.
Right now.
I think that's when our curriculum got updated. Hey man, it's the morning show.
This ain't no different than 112 East John.
Huh?
This ain't no different than 112 East John. No corner room.
You big dummy.
Make the crowd shake home. People, if you ready to ride, then let's go. The older the wine, the more vintage. Each sentence mature like stock dropped on beat. Soul at its highest peak, the Black Panther. Calling for the answer, the shadow dancer. No cure for the cancer. Carefully approach this near-deal approach. Tension in the street, we stress.
You are.
Supply, meet the demand for those who get high, slide in the family.
You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Around here trying to get people fired. We got. Hey, relax, man. Relax. This is a morning show. Relax.
You the one that told me this was a no passes, no free passes. You started that.
Hey, man. I'm just trying to say. All I'm saying is, man, we want the sister to continue to do positive.
Will believe me. Her work record speaks for us. She is more valuable to the CPS than the good Reverend Doctor.
All right. Well, I just I try to make sure that we protect our people that are doing their job at the same time. Alden, Laura, you've been pretty quiet over there, but look, we're going to go to the live line. Alden, Bennett.
I didn't know everybody stepped into the Lions Den when they came here. I thought it was
you read me.
Oh, yeah, hey, man, you read me, boy. And you came here with that purple shirt on today. You lucky we ain't eat you up for real. All right, let's go.
Another chip, right?
This shirt was in the cleanest. Just,
hey, man, you always have a blue shirt.
Gold shirts, man?
No, we don't do that. Only when we eat hot dogs. All right, let's go to Gwen. You're on the Talk of Chicago.
Yes, good morning. I wanted to know by what criteria do you measure a high school's rating? In other words, can you explain to me why Lane Tech is rated higher than Limblom?
Beulah?
Yeah, so and that's the thing that I want to make sure we're clear about. So the discussion that that you're having about elite, you're speaking solely in terms of test scores, right? But CPS's school quality rating policy is not just about test scores. At the high school level, we measure the percentage of students who are on track to graduate in 4 years. We look at graduation rates. We look at attendance rates. We look at how well students grow in 9 months on those test scores. We look at how many students are taking IB and AP courses. We look at how many students are dually enrolled and taking college classes and high school classes at the same time. Like, you get credit for all of those things. And then based on that, you get rated that way.
All right, let's go to Carolyn. You're on the Talk of Chicago.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As I listened to this conversation, it sounded to me like I wondered if this was a power play to take control of Diet School.
Now, is a power play? Do you think it's a power play to take control of Diet School?
I don't really understand what that means. I mean, I don't know what that question means.
You know what? And I hit the button just a little too quick. I'm sorry. Call us back. Sharon, you're on the Talk of Chicago 1690.
I agree with the reporter. One thing that people don't look at, just like Rauna's daughter went to Peyton, she went there because of their taking money from suburban parents. That's one. The grading, it did change. My daughter got a 93 in math and got a B. I bought that grade, and they still left it in place. That knocked her down from being able to go to Stone College Prep to her going to Westinghouse. And as far as diet, when your kid go to a school and they don't have chemistry, they don't have physics, they don't have trig, your kid cannot be successful in anybody's college.
Okay, so let me speak to that. So Diet is a high quality school. When we opened last year, we opened with every science. So we opened with all of the regular courses, algebra, biology, and all of the things that students would normally take. But we also offered AP at the freshman level. So we gave kids AP Human Geography. So it's highly competitive.
All right. Last call. Robert, you're on the Talk of Chicago 1690.
Thanks for taking my call. How many students are at Diet School right now?
Currently, there are 343.
One more question, Robert.
And at one point, there were only 13 students at Diet because the neighborhoods have been gentrified to the point, and that's what's the problem with all the school systems. And Charles named all the villains. He left out Paul Vallis, who is a major villain, and this Reverend Doctor is not an educator. He came through the Park District County Board, and he's sent in as a underling to undermine City of Chicago and its residents from first grade or kindergarten on up through adulthood.
Thanks, Robert. Yeah, I'm going to just tell you, whenever you see the good Reverend Dr. Forrest We Shall Overcome Claypool, you know, and he talked about cutting waste, fraud, and corruption, it means black folks about to lose their jobs. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to Alden Lowry. He is a writer at the Metropolitan Planning Council. Alden, what do you think the key takeaway should be from your story?
I think it's that we should celebrate the fact that we have a number of high-quality options for African-American children to attend in high school. We need more of them. I think that's the takeaway. More of them or more of us getting into them? Well, we need more of them, and even at those quote-unquote elite schools, and you can certainly quibble with that. That's a subjective characterization. But yes, I think we should be concerned that these schools at one time, 3 of these 5 schools, African Americans were the top demographic in those schools at one point, and now they're 3rd and 4th, and that should be a concern to us. Beulah, we'll let you close on a positive.
Yeah, I think diet is an indication of what can happen in what is happening in CPS. You have neighborhood schools that are now high performing, and you have more high quality options, which is why parents are choosing to make those decisions to send their students there.
Well, I don't know, y'all. I still know that 1 in 4 black folks, some kind of way it worked out. However that all added up, 1 in 4 black kids still that's in CPS still go to an underperforming
But you know,
school.
I'm gonna tell you, this young lady inspires confidence. Thank
you, Janice, but man, that good Reverend Doctor, man, he got to go. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been tuned into the Talk of Chicago. When we come back, Charles, we got to go back to this black political empowerment because I still ain't done that. And we'll talk to Tom Dreesen at 8:30. You are listening to the Talk of Chicago. It is 7:58. We will be back.
WVON.com.
That was fun, guys.
Thanks.
That was fun. That was a great conversation. I appreciate you guys coming in, being great sports.
How you refute that belief, that skepticism, by saying what you say and to hear it come from you. Man, they got some dynamic people working this.
Hell yeah.
The principals, man, dynamic.
I like the black. There's a black team of people like Beulah, Janice, Liz Kirby. I don't mess with that dude, but the rest of them, right?
Where's Liz Kirby now?
She's in central office.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she is. That's.
She's one of the top people too.
Yeah.
Really, that's too bad though. She was good on in the field. I mean, she was at Kenwood, right? Yeah.
Right, but she's also imparting that to more young principals. So like the education team, like when you go to her school, it's dope. It's dope to see young, thoughtful black people who are educators, who look like the teachers. The teachers, though, not like the hip-hop teacher that the kid can't study, because he looking at the teacher like, boy, I hit after school if I could. Right? When you got black men walking around the joint, like, how can I do better? I think we've got a whole new group of young black people who have been educated and who understand the importance of education.
Those people need to be at the top of that.
But that's why we be whack. That's why we keep talking about the good Reverend Dr. Forrest Claypool.
Thank you. Janice,
right?
Man, I just sit there listening to Janice speak like.
She got me pissed off about this NTA stuff, but she is.
You look at her, you say, man, there's your CEO right there.
But that's that white patriarchy that can't give her the prop, can't let her have it.
That's the person that can rally people, parents, people like me, taxpayers, around what CPS needs. Not this hack.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah,
he don't even like black people.
I think we have to do a better job of kind of
talking about the roles, right? Because I see Janice as a co-partner, and I'm not just saying this because I work for CPS.
I get
just say that.
I hear that.
I see her as a co-partner.
Perception is reality. Though.
I get it, but I understand perception, but I'm just saying, like, from the inside, principals view Janice as not a subordinate. Like, she is very much in step and helping to make this around at the education
But
side.
you know, politically though, when you look at it and you see, because this is a pattern. Daley started it with Ballas, and they continue to hire these political guys because they think they need to do politics more than they need to do education. Because why else would you have, you know, usually governments have like intergovernmental people that do their politics. And they're on the side. You know, you never hear their name. And they do their politics. They get their contracts and all that. But the educator, your district needs to be about education. And it hasn't been since Daley took over. Right. And I'm telling you.
I mean, that's who runs the schools, essentially. It's the mayor that runs the schools.
And the debate in the Senate, when they changed things, was that if you put the mayor in charge, it will become political. Because he will have to prove every time he runs that he's doing a great job. So he'll lie and say he's doing a great job. Whereas a professional educator will tell you, well, this is what's wrong and this is what we have to do to fix it. We're not getting that in CPS. Haven't gotten that in 20 years. And then when he goes get a black person, he gets somebody from out of town that doesn't know anybody.
One of the first moves that Ron made when he first got in office, right, was like the longer school day. And I can remember conversations, my wife works in CPS, I can remember conversations she would tell me about what were happening on the ground was that, you know, that sounds great, but, you know, we need a more substantive conversation about how we actually make use of that time. And I think that
what happens during the time.
But it was a political move to say, you know, we're last in the nation in terms of where we are, and it was an artificial move where there was some political juice born out of that. And now you can say, hey, look, we no longer have the shortest school day in the country.
And a professional educator would have said it this way: we need to do this and this and this to improve our educational outcomes in Chicago, and we are going to need 45 more minutes a day to do that. Instead of we're going to get 45 minutes a day more. Yeah. Not saying or dealing at all with what's going to happen during those 45 minutes. I feel you. Yeah. That's what you were saying.
Look at you. I love you. Be looking like no choppy.
But I tell you, it's tough living in a world without a professional educator running the school.
Yeah, I like I said, I think Janice would say, because she has said this publicly. I'm not saying anything she hasn't said. One of her goals is to restore public trust. That's one of her.
Then fire dude.
Her Maze. Let me finish. But I think the more you hear from educators about the work that's really happening, because this is real work. This is like, I don't sleep a lot because I'm always thinking about how we can move freshmen, how we can make sure they have what they need. I am not an anomaly. I am the norm for high school principals. Everybody in my circle is saying the same thing. So I appreciate your listening to me about that, because I was yelling at the screen.
I love that you were yelling at the screen.
I was like,
set me straight. I'm about the conversation.
I love that you was yelling at the screen. That means we got people passionate.
I love it. I want people screaming. The whole reason I come in here is to get screamed at and get told.
Just watch it.
We also had an entrepreneurship program for our kids this year.
How come I'm not teaching a class then? How come I'm not teaching a class then? Because, you know, the good Reverend Doctor like, hell to the no.
Take the kids through. So I wanted you to have that.
Thank you. I love it.
They all the man. I'm proud of you, brother. I'm proud of you. Look, it's like you all official. How come I'm not teaching this class?
You can.
You ain't asking me.
Thanks, man.
I'm proud of you. All right. You know, if you got anything good going on, you need us to let people know.
Okay.
All day.
You coming back, right?
I want the articles first.
Well, that's why
I appreciate it. So
thank you so much.
Like, let's do it regular. I love this, and I thought that it was great how you were able to break it down. You sound like official joints, you know what I'm saying? I'm kind of crazy. You know, got two intellects talking. But that's good stuff, man. How's the family?
Everybody's doing well, man. Everybody's doing well.
Good, good. I see. Is that your wife doing all that weightlifting?
Yeah.
Dang, man, she a bodybuilder. She gonna make you start bodybuilding.
Yeah, a little bit. I lost a little bit. I ain't nowhere near what she's doing.
Yeah, she gonna start bench pressing. You know?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you.
Hey, appreciate you, man.
We'll talk soon, then, my man.
Okay.
All right, Charles, good to have you.
Hey, and are you helping? I just talked to Preston yesterday.
Oh, with his campaign?
Yeah.
I can't get into any of that. I will support him from afar.
Got it. All right.
All right, I'll holler. Go, Mom, man.
Go, Mom. Woo! That was a good conversation, guys. I enjoyed that. I thought that was really good insight, perspective.
Spicy.
What up, Rick? Good? Rick, did you enjoy your birthday, man? I know, man. Did you fly a plane on your birthday, Rick? Okay, let's see who's out there. What up, Darvey? What up, Tammy? Tammy Preston is running for judge. Yolanda, yo. What up, Tammy Matthews? What up, Patah? Hey, man, Patah, appreciate you giving us coverage from the Black ILBC event last night. Did you see that one yesterday? The Springfield update, Charles. What up, Nate? What up, Dwayne Hirsch? What up, David Blackman, Julian Sample, Joe Soul? Nate, you with the yoga team now? That's what I'm talking about. We converting people. The conversion is happening. Look, Charles trying to find a place to go. Look, he got to go do his old man now.
His old man thing.
What up, Ebony Tillman? What up, Sean Rogers? Penelope, Reese Moe, Diane Scott, David Blackman. What up, Antoine? What up, Rosita? We ain't forget Ron Huberman. What up, Avis Mavis? It's time for the yoga with no Charles.
You're listening to The Morning Show with Maze Jackson on Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Boom, boom, boom. My own private dance. Boom, baby, bend over. Baby, bend over. Baby, bend over. Let me see you do the yoga. Baby, bend over. Baby, bend over. Baby, bend. Look, he got ready to hate. Look at the hate. Hate till he came back. Brown on my head, but the world on my shoulder. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas. 8 o'clock, you know what time it is. Charles, you over there hating?
No, man, I wasn't even here, man. I had to make a run.
You said you had to make a run, Charles, but it was no hate until you sat back down and ate your hating on the beat.
I think I see we get a different reaction on Friday.
Because everybody is loose, ready to get out.
But otherwise, generally speaking, you know, it's tired. But that's all right. It's your show, man.
They love it, man.
You know what they say.
The kids get what they say.
I just show up. I don't.
You would just say you cut.
I don't own the deli. I just slice the bologna.
Slice the bologna. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your man, Maze Jackson. Charles Thomas talking about hating to the beat. That's right, because at 8 o'clock every day, you know, you hear that yoga song. We are in the 8 o'clock stretch. Got to send a shout out to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. That's right, Miss Sonia Escobar. Want to welcome Nate to the Love Club. Nate Williams. You know, he done said he is quitting his hating ways, and he is now on Team Yoga. I'm telling you, we converting them all. Want to say what's up to everybody that is watching us on Facebook Live, as well as everybody that is watching us on YouTube. Charles, you know, I just cannot get over the lack of respect that black people get in politics, in spite of how much we contribute to people being reelected. You know, everybody from the rooter to the tooter in the Democratic Party, statewide, Cook County wide, rely on black people.
Yeah, they have to, because without black voters going 90-95% Democrat in the elections, statewide, local, this would be a red state.
And then, Charles, on this very show, we always open up a can of whoop ass, because we always mad at the black elected officials for voting the way the white people want them to vote, not necessarily in our self-interest.
Right, that happens all the time. The other point I wanted to make too is, you know, the unions have a real stake in this black vote, and they have to begin to respond to the needs of black people.
But Charles,
they put a lot at risk.
But Charles, they do respond to the black people, but they respond not as a partner, but as a patriarch. You know, we always getting a whooping. Always getting a whooping. Charles, this whole thing with this PAC and the Cook County Democratic Party, I'm confused. I don't know Charles, I don't know.
We don't know what they're going to do with it yet completely, though. I mean, they say they're going to support and oppose candidates with this new PAC. And you reported that the money for the new PAC is going to come from the beverage industry, which opposes the pop tax. Now, President Preckwinkle,
she's the top dog for black folks in the Democratic Party right now.
Absolutely. And she supports the pop tax. So is the party, by taking money from the beverage industry, I'm talking about Speaker Madigan and his lawyer, taking money from the beverage industry, are they trying to knock off Tony Preckwinkle? Are they trying to...
Charles, there always seems to be a pattern of backdooring black elected officials by the party. Charles, last year...
And President Preckwinkle is going to be a tough one for black people to rally around to defend if she continues to persist in supporting this pop tax.
I mean, the crazy part is, Charles, they send black folks out to round up black folks. Whoop the black folks.
The slave master always did.
But then, Charles, then they turn...
dogs, man.
But Charles, they turn on the person they sent to do the whooping. So think about the gravity of the fact that Queen Sugar has been loyal to those guys, and
to a fault.
To a fault. Protected Joe Barrios in the face.
Gave up her progressive credentials
completely.
To be one of the old boys.
And now they've opened up what is potentially a can of whoop ass on her and her supporters.
The other black commissioners.
While concurrently, none of the white commissioners that voted for it are being whooped at all. They're being negotiated with. And Charles, it just seems to me that there's always a plot to screw the black folks. You know, and you know what brought this to reality to me? Charles, and I know this is a little bit inside, so you have to bring it home. But Charles, last election cycle, the Democratic Party slated a whole slab of black judges. None of them won.
Well, whose fault?
But the people that they were getting slated against did. Like, But the black folks tried to stand up to get the black judges elected, and then once they did, the white guys went out the back door. And it seems like it's always, Charles, the ability to cross us out. We're always expendable.
Yeah, that judge thing, though, that gets deep in the weeds. I mean, that's really, I don't even know who these judges are that I'm voting for. That's why I want to see what's in it
for the black people.
Voters guide next time around, but it's hard to talk about judges.
Charles,
but I
who's
think
the black?
You can talk about President Preckwinkle.
The black OG. Who is the black OG?
Well, maybe it's supposed to be President Preckwinkle at this point, but it seems like she's getting backdoored. I mean, is she the top? She's the most powerful black Democrat, right? In this state.
But Charles, who says to? But I'm saying, think about the gravity of this. Who says to Mike Casper and to Victor Reyes,
who is Mike Madigan's lawyer,
and Victor Reyes, who's the top black guy now? Apparently, he's the
top Latino.
He's over black people too, though.
Well, but
no, he really is over black people.
Well, I mean, he's a powerful lobbyist
that makes money off of black people. And I'm trying to understand, how do you get to simultaneously support or represent the Democrats and then work against them at the same time? They don't do that to white people.
What is this news?
No, I'm saying, but who's the OG? Who is the black OG that says?
There is no black OG right now. You would think that it would be President Preckwinkle, but she kind of sold us, her soul to the party.
Where's the John Stroger, the Emil Jones, where is the black person, the Bill Dawson that says, hey, homie, black folks, we did all this, we want our piece. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Talk Chicago 1690. We'll talk about this when we come back. What do black people need to do to get regain political power in Illinois? We'll be back.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago.
All right, y'all. Kim, you gone?
Yeah, I try to keep it like as simple as possible. If they're going to put a pack together, that pack, it would seem to me, would be a device to really go after Preckwinkle. Now, I was reading today in the one of the newspapers, they sort of gave a scenario of what could happen with this vote as it goes down. That even if the commissioners voted 9-8 to repeal the tax, President Preckwinkle could veto the vote and send it back to the commissioners, who then would have to have a supermajority to override her veto.
Say that one more time.
If they do on the vote on the 13th, if it comes out 9-8 with to repeal the tax, because it's 17 commissioners.
Right? Oh, right.
Then President Preckwinkle could veto the vote, and they would have to come up with a supermajority to override her veto, which would be very unlikely, it would appear at this point, which would create a situation where where it would be a huge campaign issue in the primary.
Ooh.
Huge campaign issue, and then your boy from the 6th district would be protected because he would vote even though the tax wouldn't be repealed. You see what I'm saying? But his vote would be on record as having flipped, so Miss Miller, who's running against him, wouldn't have as much of a stick. In fact, she wouldn't have any stick, I would think. He'd be protected.
I would think she would have stick just in the fact that it's a black woman. See, their biggest fear also is a black woman, right? They always use a black woman. Whenever they want to divide it up or they want to win the race, they go find a black woman. So now imagine they saying, damn, Donna Miller is running as a black woman. And I got a white woman in the race. God help him if a white man gets in the race. He's toast. So there's a lot of scenarios. Now they got to figure out how do they burnish their credentials to get into a piece of that black vote? And then you got to worry about them having a Republican challenger coming in the general. See, they don't expect.
But in the 6th district, they're Republican have a hell of a time. That's Thornton Township.
That's not just Thornton though.
I know, but
this teacher will be strolling in here any second.
Well, I guess you're right. I mean,
so you put the teacher on with Donna. We honor the Shining Star recipient. You let Donna do most of the talking.
Who is this, man? What is this?
Wait, when is this?
What is
now?
What is it?
It's the Shining Star recipient.
Whose idea is this?
It's something that happens once a month. We do.
We just
for
read
7
it.
minutes in this segment here.
We just read it.
No. You interview her. You congratulate her for being an outstanding teacher. You talk about education. You let Donna Lee do most of the talking.
This just.
It's a sponsorship.
Huh?
Somebody sold a sponsorship.
They sold a sponsorship?
Yes, Leak & Son sponsors this.
So what is the sponsorship? What's it called? I don't know, man. I guess you got it because I know.
Man, bro, I mean you.
I know nothing about it.
Oh, you got the camera.
So what is this, man? What were you doing this?
Leak & Son, Shining Star. I mean, they honoring a teacher. So I'm gonna go ahead, man. I guess, yeah.
But didn't you have to put the teacher on?
She not here.
Huh?
She not here. Donna Leak is on. Donna Leak is on the phone lines, but the teacher's not here. They trying to teach her. Look, bro, 8:20. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna run this. Leak & Sons, Shining Star, Donna Leak. You know I'm gonna knock it out. Hey, all right. There's no such thing as a bad interview. It's just a bad interviewer. So I'm going to take that to heart. I saw y'all whooping up on me yesterday about the Kelly Price. Well, God damn, I didn't know what the hell was going on. They did not sell me. That's not what they told me was supposed to be happening.
I don't know what's going on.
What the hell? You know what I'm saying? I know.
And y'all have me up in here to do what?
Right. It's like, man, Kelly, that's not the story they told me.
I don't have any expertise in this, so maybe I'm just.
And I'm gonna just tell y'all what, all y'all talking crazy about what goes on behind the studio. This is just, let me just say this. This is value added, right? Nobody else gets to watch their radio personalities and the faces they make. So while you making all the judgment, I could just turn the camera off. I'm just saying, part of this whole thing is you get reality radio. So I didn't frown on air. I was just like, oh my God, I don't know what's going on. Got it? Now we giving you a sneak peek into our world. Nate, we made you famous today, brother. No, I'm just saying, y'all. It's like, I understand you want it to be a TV show, but the whole premise of it is behind the scenes. Woo! You know who you are?
She is AWOL and we're kind of worried about her.
because she was very excited to be here. We can't. So we're going to do it with Donna only, okay?
Okay.
All right.
She getting her last weekend party on. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. And Charles, it's back to school time, and we just had a back to school hour. And now we're back to our sponsorship provided courtesy of Leak & Sons. This is the Shining Star program brought to us by Leak & Sons. On the live line, Charles, we've got Donna Leak. Donna, how are you today? We're great. We're great. So tell us about the Shining Star recipient this week.
Thank them for the work that they're doing in Chicago Public Schools. And so this month we are honoring Rebecca Grover, who has been with Chicago Public Schools for over 22 years in the classroom, kindergarten through 8th grade. She is a product of Chicago Public Schools herself, went to Hyde Park Academy, and then went on to Loyola and UIC here in the city. So we are really excited about her.
And she just got in the studio. She just sat down in the seat. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome the Shining Star recipient this week, Miss Rebecca Grover. Hi, Rebecca. How are you today?
Hi. Good morning. I'm fine.
Wonderful. Okay, Donna, so tell us about Rebecca.
So, well, like I said, Rebecca's been teaching in Chicago Public Schools and bless her heart, because for over 22 years to be working with young people and really changing lives, that's thousands of young people whose lives she's touched. So I want to say from Leak & Sons in particular, and myself, Dr. Donna Leak, thank you, congratulations. We are so happy to honor you and give you an opportunity just to talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Okay, thank you. I'm still working with students. Right now I'm working with a substitute network, and I'm really pleased with the network I'm with, only because they really don't view it as being a babysitter when the regular teacher is out. You know, they're serious about following the guidelines of the paper, the lessons that the teacher had left for the students to participate in that day, and I take it seriously as well, and I still get to participate in their lives and, you know, sometimes make connections, because oftentimes I'm asked to stay within the same school or the same class, so I get to know a lot of the students personally as well, which is what I really enjoy.
That is congratulations, yeah. And she's sort of underplaying. That's one of the hardest things to do in education, is to come in and be the substitute who's there, this is actually a first for us. In the years we've been doing this program, I'm really pleased that we've got somebody who's in that, because you talk about being in the trenches. When you go into a classroom and you don't know the kids and you have to establish a relationship every day, every couple of days, I cannot say enough good things about what you're doing. Thank you.
Yes, we want to thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That was Donna Leak. She is the sponsor of the Leak & Sons Shining Star program, and we are honoring today Rebecca Grover. Rebecca, thank you for all your service. I know it's got to be tough being a substitute teacher, because I was hard on them. But we appreciate you, and we appreciate your service, and we'll look forward to talking to you again in the future. Donna, thanks for everything, and thank you to Leak & Sons. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. It is 8:30. When we come back, we are going to be talking to comedian Tom Dreesen. They tell me he's from Harvey. I didn't know there was no white people in Harvey. We'll be back after news, traffic, and weather.
Live from the WVON newsroom, here's our news.
So, can we get a picture with y'all?
Sure.
Thank you.
Today, with temperatures climbing near 70. Good morning. I'm Annette Flournoy, and here's what's happening. You just might
Wait,
not
okay.
get a chance
Yeah,
to
that's
earn any
gonna be.
Tubmans anytime soon. The Trump
Come on, Charles.
administration seems to be attempting to renege on an earlier plan to put Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill. Yesterday, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said Tubman's image on the 20 is not what he's focused on at the
want me
moment,
to do one with
but
your
that he's
camera
more
too?
concerned about changes that would stop counterfeiting.
Yes.
The Obama administration planned for the redesigned 20 to be issued in 2020 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the 19th Amendment, which gave women the right to vote. The plan was to replace the abolitionist on the front of the bill and move Andrew
Hey,
Jackson.
Aretha Franklin, Chain of Fools.
Well, new Chicago police crime figures are in on the same day that a 13-year-old is caught in the middle of crossfire.
Thank you. It was so nice. Congratulations.
She was sitting in the back
Them
seat of a
substitute teaching, boy, that's tough. Them kids don't play.
I should try that. I should try to do some substitute teaching.
Man, next thing we hear you, I would have stole off one of them kids.
Stole on one.
Yeah, I've had days where.
You know, it may be if
Which is,
I was gonna say if you get in the firearm dealing
Right.
business.
Well, according to some time stats,
My hands on the trial, so it was a good day.
We're gonna think of this way.
52 deaths ruled.
Nice meeting you, John.
Bye-bye. Nice meeting you as well. Thank you. And congratulations again.
Kidney transplant surgery Wednesday. He received a kidney donated by his 25-year-old son Daniel, who's already home. His doctor said yesterday he's awake, alert, and already checking his emails. Johnson is expected to be off the job for about 6 weeks. Well, several ComEd customers.
I'm sorry, guys. I didn't turn the speaker up on that
Many will
one.
see a credit of about $14 on their October statement.
Stop it,
The
Yoli.
refund.
Look, man, we just sometimes stuff is in there. Sometimes y'all got jobs. Stop acting like y'all be at the job like, hey, yeah, nah, boss, I'm not doing that one. You be like y'all be at the job like, yeah, dog, oh no, boss. Bust that. Nope. Sorry. Yeah, I know my job is to interview people, but I'm not taking that interview.
Hey, man, AR League spend good money.
Hey, man.
AR
Look,
League
y'all
spend
want to
good
have a
money.
morning show? Gotta be some sponsors.
Yeah,
Gotta be some sponsors. Them commercials.
I'd rather AR League get their money like, for, you know, I mean, hey.
I'm saying, and they're putting money in. So, guys, all I'm saying is, you know, I don't necessarily. I love the vibe that we have, and I love doing what we got to do. But sometimes we got to pay the bills, and it wasn't always a #1 morning show here. So, guess what? They had to do what they had to do to survive.
Right.
So, I'm not mad at nobody for doing what they have to do to survive. I'm saying we just want y'all to help us make enough money.
I do business with AR League like that. All right, we do business with AR League like that. We don't want to do business with them some other kind of way. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to do to keep AR League in business. I'll do it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
All right, y'all. Now we about to talk to Tom Dreesen. He's a comedian. They tell me he's funny.
Now this is the man. You get your man on this.
Huh?
This is the man. This here go to this is what the man. This is what.
Yeah. The den is consistent. Y'all do what y'all do. Yes, you know what? I got to learn to love to hate. You know what? So Tom Dreesen used to be Tim Reed's comedy partner. So he's gonna tell us some interesting stuff. Yeah, Todd ain't gonna make everything all right. Nate, see, man, you said you was quitting your hating ways. We tried to make you famous today.
Tackle everything all right.
That's all right. Look at Todd. Look, he making it like the boys are not. They did it. We got him to do it. Can I tell y'all I love the WVON Morning Show? And can I tell you I love the WVON Morning Show Facebook den, the Lions Den? Y'all are crazy. Let's see. What up, Reese Mo? Reese, you said the man bringing all his white friends to the show. I said, I think the way he was sweating us to do this interview, though, you know he got some tickets or something coming from something.
Yeah, the man got some tickets.
The man be like, man, you gotta do it. I'm like,
I
was like, who?
The man don't ever let us in his bag either. Bro.
Right. We gonna have to hit the man in his bag, though.
Man bag be tight. Man bag be tight. Man Yeah, man.
Hey, is the Rego Babo out there? What's up, Rego Babo? Nate is a fool. Todd is to be commended for the great job he is doing. Sorry, guys, I missed the volume on that last one. Nate is now Todd's new defender.
The man if I can show up. Man, I'm telling you.
Oh. They like, he better be funny. I'm gonna tell him that too. Hey man, you got a tough crowd out here. You better be funny. Hey man, you know we talk politics on this show, so you better be damn funny, man. Damn funny. Pain.
Change, 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 change,
Oh yeah, you know I like donuts? I'm the donut man.
I know.
I'm the donut man, the dad donut man.
I know you with that donut on.
Hey, that's in it for the black people.
That's it. You guys know what's in my family.
You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, every day at the 8:30 break, we do the Charles's Choice. Take it away.
Hey, man. Sunday night, Ravinia, the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin.
She's still singing.
Hey, is she still singing? They say she lost about 500 pounds, too. I don't know if 500, but I mean, she lost a lot of weight. They say she looks great and that she's in
Well, she gonna come, I'm gonna tell you what though, she gonna come right off the stage and slap the taste out your mouth for that joke right there. Did you really just insult the Queen of Soul?
The Queen of Soul, they say she's looking good, man. They say she's
insulted the Queen of Soul.
Recharged, man, ready to go. She dropped a lot of weight, I understand that.
You insulted the Queen of Soul on the Voice of the Negro.
Now, you know, but she's gonna be in at Ravinia up north on Sunday night.
Up north,
yeah.
Famous woman in town.
Yeah.
Speaking of soul, the Queen of Soul. Speaking of soul, we have on the live line comedian Tom Dreesen. Now, maybe you don't know this. I'm sure some of you have heard of him. This guy has had the most appearances on the Tonight Show. He started out as part of the comic team with Tim Reed. You know, Charles, he also opened for Frank Sinatra and Sammy Davis Jr. But the most interesting fact to me is that he's from Harvey.
Yeah, and he's made it all the way, talk about a career, to the South Suburban College main campus in South Holland.
But you know what, Charles?
For the special one-night show.
But Charles, he's been around the world. He is one of the biggest comedians out there. But they told me he came from Harvey. I didn't even know no white people lived in Harvey. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the WVON Morning Show. Comedian extraordinaire Tom Dreesen. Tom, welcome to the Talk of Chicago. How are you this morning?
Well, thanks, Maze Charles. So you went from a fat black woman from Detroit to a skinny white boy from Harvey. That's a great change.
Tom.
Both of you still kicking, man.
Both of you still kicking.
Not only did this white boy come from Harvey, I recorded an album there live in front of an all-black audience called "That White Boy Is Crazy."
Oh no!
Really? First white comedian ever did. Yeah. The first white comedian
Richard
ever did an
Pryor,
album
he
in
did
front of
that crazy. Yeah, okay.
Tell us about it
That
again.
White Boy Is Crazy.
That white boy is crazy. So Tom,
When I did the album in Harvey, Richard Pryor wanted me to call the album "That Honky's Crazy," and I said no, because no black dude in Harvey ever called me a honky. They always called me white boy. And I grew up in a predominantly black area, and so playing football and playing basketball, they'd always say, "Hey, white boy, come here, white boy." And by the time I was 12 years old, I found out my name wasn't white boy. I thought that was my real name.
You know what, Tom? I'm listening to you, man. I could tell you grew up around the brothers. You got a little slang to your voice. Do you hear it, Charles? Seems like he's got a little twang
I've
to
heard
it.
Tom Dreesen many times. He's consistent.
Is he consistent? So is he like, he's not like the original Wig?
No, I did do a Hillary on you there.
So tell us a little bit about your history. They tell us that you actually were Tim Reed's first partner.
Well, what happened was, Tim Reed and I never had any idea that I'd be in show business, nor did Tim. When I first came out of the service in Harvey, I belonged to a civic group called the JCs, and Tim Reed graduated from Norfolk State College in Norfolk, Virginia. E.I. DuPont recruited him into Chicago as a marketing rep, and he joined the JCs. And we wrote a drug education program teaching grade school children the ills of drug abuse with humor. In those days, they weren't teaching drug abuse at a high school or a college level, let alone at an elementary school level. And the program became very successful. We would get the kids' attention and play music, and him and I would work off of one another, making the kids laugh. When we got their attention, then we'd plant the seeds of the ills of drug abuse. And the program became #1 in 50 states and in 22 foreign countries. JCs use it as a model program on how to teach drug education at an elementary school level. And one day, a little 8th grade girl walking out of the class said, "You guys are funny. You ought to become a comedy team." And the thought of a black-white comedy team intrigued us because no one had ever done that before. So we started writing what we thought was material, and there were no comedy clubs in those days. So we worked the Chipman circuit, black-owned, black-operated nightclubs, the High Chaparral in Chicago, the Dating Club Lounge, the Burning Spear, and then we started traveling to Detroit, the 20 Grand in Detroit, the Sugar Shack in Boston.
Now, how does that work out for a black-white comedy team? Were you performing in front of black audiences or white audiences?
We did both, and we caught hell in a lot of ways. We wrote a book called Tim and Tom, an American comedy in black and white that is now becoming a movie. We're meeting with Kevin Hart's company next week, as a matter of fact, about doing the film. But in those days, you got to remember, 1969. This September, we start our 49th year in show business, starting today. It was the first time we went on stage 49 years ago in Chicago Heights. And in those days, the Vietnam War was raging. African Americans were rioting in every major city in America, including in Harvey, Illinois. One of the largest riots in the country was in Harvey. And in the middle of all this, we were going across the land trying to make people laugh. And if we worked an all-black club, if there was a black guy who hated white people, hated with a passion, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at Tim for being with me. If we worked a white club where there was a redneck and he didn't like black people, he wasn't mad at Tim. He was mad at me for being with Tim. So most people loved what we did. We had an album out and all that stuff, but we had to pay. We took on the frustrations and the fears of America. But we did 11 prisons in 1 year. We went to every college, everywhere there was racial tension. We went and made people laugh. We didn't preach. We just went to make people laugh.
Tom, you're coming back. Tom, you're coming back on Saturday, the 23rd, for a show in South Holland. Will you get back to Harvey, and what do you think about Harvey these days?
Well, I go back all the time. They named a street after me where I used to sell newspapers on the corner. I had 8 brothers and sisters. We lived in a shack. 5 of us slept in one bed. We had no bathtub, no shower, no hot water. It was a rat-infested, roach-infested shack. And so I shined shoes in taverns. I set pins in bowling alleys. I caddied in the summertime. I sold newspapers on the corner. So the corner where I used to sell newspapers, they named that street Dreesen Street.
Yeah.
And so I go back and I talk to the students at Thornton High School, and I talk to the principal and the faculty there, and I give them motivation speeches, these students.
Well, what do you think about what's going on there now? I mean, Harvey's had some tough times.
Yeah, it really is. And my heart aches for it because they need industry in there. They need jobs in there and stuff like that. And they probably need new leadership now. It's always time for a change. Somebody has to come forward and put a positive focus on that community. When you think about Harvey, Illinois, think of this. A member of baseball's Hall of Fame, Lou Boudreau, grew up in Harvey. At age 24, he played shortstop for the Cleveland Indians and managed the team at age 24 and took them to a pennant in the World Series. The Dells, a black singing group, had 9 gold records. Oh, What a Night, Stay in My Corner. They came from Harvey. Betty Robinson, the first woman to win a gold medal in the Olympics, came from Harvey. 11 football players in the NFL at one time. There were 11 at one time. They graduated from Thorne High School. Harvey's got a great history and a great tradition. And the young kids there at the high school are just the most wonderful, bright students. And their principal is a former ex-Marine, and he doesn't take any guff from anybody,
You know what, Tom? We got to stop you right there. We have got to go to traffic and weather. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to Talk Chicago, 1690 AM. We are talking to international comedian extraordinaire Tom Dreesen. They keep telling me he's from Harvey. I keep saying I didn't even know there were white people that lived in Harvey. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 8:46. We'll be back after after traffic and weather.
More of the morning show with me.
Keep it up, because I ain't got nothing. Charles, keep it up, because I ain't got nothing.
Yeah.
You got to keep it, because I got nothing.
Well, it's like you say Harvey is a lot. I remember when I came to Chicago as late as the 1990s, early 1990s, I think Harvey still had a white mayor. And most of the cops and firemen in Harvey were white. I think that may have changed now, to whatever extent, but Harvey's hit some hard times. Harvey, man, is a city right outside Chicago, being right outside Chicago between 2 major expressways, the Bishop, Ford, and 57, and to be right there on the river. Man, you wonder why Harvey went down so much, why it isn't a place where a lot of light manufacturing would want to locate at this stage of the game, even now. But you see that isn't happening. And I don't know. I mean, Harvey's a real tough thing. I don't know, man. You probably count the number of white people still living in Harvey probably on what, 2 hands and toes? I mean, it isn't that many. And Harvey has some of the worst unemployment, some of the worst economic conditions in the entire region for a city that size, certainly. And I don't know. I mean, somebody's saying, ask him what you think can be done to help Harvey, what he could do to help Harvey. I don't know, other than tell people that he's from there. I mean, I don't think he's an expert in economic development that would, where he could provide very much counsel in terms of what to do. Harvey is an entirely different place than when Tom Dreesen grew up there in the 1960s and 70s. Harvey is an entirely different place. Ask him why he doesn't run for office in Harvey. What could he do? I don't think I would definitely entrust him with Harvey at this point. They have a street named after him. And then I would doubt that people in Harvey really know who Tom Dreesen is, or really would. I mean, after they find out who he is, of course they'll develop an appreciation for him. But this is a tough deal, because this is a lot of people. Like he was mentioning, Lou Boudreau. People came from Harvey. I got a lot of white people used to live in Harvey, but not anymore.
Tom, I don't want to talk to Roland Burns.
What's he selling there, man?
I don't want to talk to Roland Burns. I don't want to talk to Roland Burns.
About what?
He want to talk to his good friend.
Yeah, it's tough, man. This is a tough deal. This is worth a much longer conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. We are talking to comedian extraordinaire Tom Dreesen. He's back this weekend because he's doing a show at South Suburban College. Tom, they told me you had a very interesting story about your interaction with Sammy Davis Jr.
I went out on my own on the West Coast, and in those days in America, if you say you're a stand-up comedian, everybody, the next question out of their mouth would be, "Oh yeah, have you ever been on Johnny Carson?" And that was the show that one appearance would launch your career. So I finally got on after about a year, and I ended up doing 61 appearances on The Tonight Show. It really changed my life. But after that first appearance on The Tonight Show, Sammy Davis Jr. put me on his show called Sammy and Company. And then he said on the air, I did routines about growing up in Harvey and playing basketball on an all-black basketball team and playing football with an all-black football team. And Sammy just loved the routines, and he took me on the road. For 3 years, I toured, all over from 1977, 1980 with Sammy in Vegas, Tahoe, Reno, in Chicago at the Mill Run Theater, and toured with him years and learned, sat in the wings and watched him night after night. There was never anybody like him on a stage. He was extraordinary. In my opinion, he was the Jackie Robinson of show business. He paved the way. And then from there, I went with Sinatra. I toured with Smokey Robinson for years and brought Smokey to Harvey, by the way, many times. Smokey went to Harvey with me. I would run 26 miles every year for multiple sclerosis for my sister. And Smokey would run. He was the only, I'd bring in 20 celebrities, and they'd run like a block or 2 blocks. Smokey's the only one who ran all 26 miles with me. And then from there, I started touring with Frank Sinatra for 14 years. I was his opening act till the day he died, and I was a pallbearer at his funeral, and I spoke at his funeral. So I've had a wonderful career, and that's what when I'm going back to South Holland, it's September 23rd. South Holland, as you know, is right next to Harvey, and they have a big performing arts center inside the college, South Suburban Community College, where I went when I came out of the service. And so I'm coming home to do a 90-minute show about where I've been, with pictures, and it's a stand-up comedy, but there's pictures and film and everything of Tim and Tom and Tim Reed and I, and of Sammy Davis and Smokey Robinson and Frank Sinatra and all the places I've been since I was there.
Well, I'm glad he was Tim and you're Tom, because, boy, that would have been a real comedy then. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been talking to comedian Tom Dreesen. He's going to be back here at South Suburban College September 23rd. He's got a show. He's going to be going over his whole life. Where do we go to get tickets?
You can go to my website, tomdreesen.com, and it's DREESEN. So it's 3 E's, DREESEN.com, or you can call South Suburban Community College. And I don't have the exact number, but I know Mays and Charles are so on top of everything. They'll have that number for you.
Yes, I'm sure Todd will get it for us. We'll make sure it's out there, ladies and gentlemen.
Put it on the old white man running the station. You take care of it.
How do you know, Todd? How do you know Todd's a white man? He's behind the radio.
I know Todd's older than dirt. I've known him a long time.
Oh boy!
Okay.
Now the truth comes.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago. Tom, we look forward to coming checking out that show September 23rd, South Suburban College. That's right, the Tom Dreesen Show. Ladies and gentlemen, Charles, it has been a interesting show to say the least. Man, I'm still lost on when do we get some black political power. Who is the black OG? Who speaks for black people politically?
Mace Jackson?
Hell to the no. Boy, I'm telling you, Charles, it just seems as though black folks get it coming and going. You know, this whole concept that even after being loyal, that we still have to worry about getting crossed out by the party. I mean, think about it, man. Tony Preckwinkle has been on the team, and they opening up a can on her.
Open up a can on her, man. I think you broke the story. You broke the story this week, Mace. They coming in with the pack. What do they call it again? The
affordable. What can you?
Cook for Citizens for Affordable Cook County. But just think about this, Charles. Just think about the fact that for the last 3 months, they've been figuring out how they could come get us while they getting plotted on by their homies.
That's right.
Think about this.
We're supposed to be the enemy. Right?
We the enemy, but they open up. I ain't got $1. I ain't got $1 to put against you. Nothing. They done went and recruited people to go get money to take you and your commissioners out. But you mad at the WVON Morning Show? We sick, boss?
We sick.
We sick, boss.
We real sick, boss. Yeah, that is amazing. I mean, to put it in those terms.
I mean,
we are, we're just sitting here. Was it commentating, observing,
commentating on what's happening,
what's going on?
But can I just offer this?
Maybe they're embarrassed. I mean,
Charles, can I offer this? Can I offer this? Can I offer to our black elected officials, who we have been pretty hard on? I'm gonna be honest with you, that you all cannot allow people to come just take whacks at you. It just seems like if they can whack you, then they definitely have no issue in whacking us. Who is Charles the Black OG? You know, I used to talk smack about Emo Jones. These old men don't want to take care. But Charles, I'm starting to understand why we needed Emo Jones. I'm starting to understand why we needed John Stroger, because those brothers, even though they had to make the deal with the white man, they made the deal with the white man for the black folks. Right now, the white folks tell us what the deal is for us.
That's right.
Now the Latinos are telling us what the deal is for us.
That's right. I mean, I'm sitting and saying, amen, amen, and preach.
Charles, I'm waiting for you to dispute me, man. I need you to push back.
I can't dispute you. I mean, I told you this for years, Mays, what I thought was going on. And how I thought black people had shrunk, black political leadership had shrunken from its responsibility. They just don't, they're doing what they're told now, everywhere.
Charles, but it used to be,
they're not even in the conversation. They're not in the conversation about schools. They're not in the conversation about who's running for what.
Think about that. They are planning the whole game plan, and black folks ain't nowhere in the plan. We got the lieutenant governor.
The lieutenant governor.
And we're going to get the comptroller, but then they're going to vote that out.
Then they're going to eliminate the office.
Charles.
But they're going to give us the Secretary of State.
Charles.
He's 83 years old. That is amazing.
We need, look, black elected officials, take time, take a moment, and you need to do an assessment. And you need to look around and see who's really on your team. Because the math don't ever seem to add up for black folks. It ain't, the count ain't right here down in the community.
The count ain't right.
But the count ain't right up there with you. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the WVON Morning Show. I got some thinking to do this weekend, man. We got to figure out how we gonna get free, Charles. We got to get free. I want to get free, bro.
Yeah, we can get free.
You got a boat?
I got a boat.
Oh,
I'm free.
The man told me I got
free.
to make sure if you want to get tickets to Tom Dreesen, call 708-596-2000. Even I ain't free. The man said, you ain't free. Read this number. Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the top of Chicago.
Man, I got a whole weekend, too, I got to get ready for. I got to think about this all weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the top of Chicago.
I thought I was free.
1690. I'm your host, Mays Jackson.
I ran off one plantation onto another.
I don't know, man. For the WVON Morning Show, for Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, for Sonia Escobar, our musical conductor of the Soul Plane, for Charles Thomas, I'm your man, Mays Jackson. And if they don't like it, you can still tell them. Mays said, we out of here. Peace.
WVON.
They telling me I got to be off by 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Woohoo! No black OGs. We ain't got no rights. No politicians. There's no laws for black people that a white man is bound to respect. And all I'm saying is, while Queen Sugar got the posse coming to get me, she don't know that them dogs barking is for her. We got him, boss. No, actually, we got you. Real talk, bro. It's like, seriously? Like, you out here, they like, go get the Negroes. You like, I got them. I'm going to get them. I'm going to put them Negroes in check. Who does he think? Meanwhile, they like, yeah. Now, as soon as she get that one, kill her. Y'all, we got to be smarter politically. They count on us being dumb. They count on us taking the short money, man.
Man, this is like... have your flow interrupted like that.
Okay, wait. So I still got you on camera. I'm gonna talk about that when we go. So go ahead and say goodbye to everybody for the weekend, man.
See you for the long weekend. See you next Tuesday. That's right, next Tuesday.
Oh, next Tuesday.
Yeah, there's no show Monday, right?
No show Monday. How about
I was told that.
All right,
y'all. I don't know what they're doing, but
Amisha's here.
Okay.
They're gonna do our promotion. All right, y'all. You are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm gonna have to take that one out of my book. I'm gonna pull that in my book. All right, y'all. Appreciate it. I thought that was a great conversation with the man. I feel like All right, I'm out of here. Holla back. Peace. And I think it was not cool